Dame tu cuello.
Von Rise, Gods and Goddesses, Titans, Chaos Being, Beautiful Light, the Beautiful Dog. Gonna let us build the vibe up a little bit. Tonight's lecture is going to be on, of course, Generations Lust. We cannot, I just wrote it down. I forgot what I was going to say. We cannot move into a higher state of vibration until we face the facts that we have been miseducated and misled spiritually on all fronts. A lot of the things that we go through in our day-to-day, in our builds, in our life, say that over there for now, are due to still this outward belief system. There's levels to acquiring knowledge. There's levels to us rising into our higher selves. There's always levels. Where we're stuck at, what we get stuck on a lot of the times is, oh crap, I didn't know I can do that. Oh, I can do that. I didn't know I can do that. I didn't know I could do learning new things. But the thing that a lot of things that we get stuck upon or stuck on is we're dwindling in the past. What I see a lot of stuff becomes repeats, and it's because it's a safe space. A lot of stuff that we do becomes repeats because it's a safe space. Similar to when you were, before you awakened, or your first levels of consciousness or coming into awareness, you felt comfortable in that space, but you didn't put in any, because you didn't have to put in any work. It's easy as fuck to say, yeah, I'm conscious. It's easy as hell. It's easy as fuck to say you're conscious. Walk around with an ankh, walk around with crystals, walk around with beads, walk around with all types of things that show that are now markers, or now you showing how super woke or how woke you are in that aspect. But how much work is actually being done? And what I notice, a lot of people everybody's going every which way. There's been multiple paths, but there's no discipline in the mindsets because there's no organized thought in their minds. What happens a lot of the times, we're still lusting over being seen a certain way. We're still lusting over the hope of it's going to turn around. Our people are going to wake up. Our people are going to wake up. Everybody's going to wake up, and it's going to be this utopia. It's going to be this utopia type whatever. That's not the case. The one synonymous fact to all of this is everybody's not going to go where you're going. Everybody is not ready to accept the responsibility. You were given this, you were awakened because you have been through the things that it took to shape you as the representative. You have seen the things, you have been through the things, we have been through certain things that as we work on ourselves, it magnifies. That's the dark from the light, the dark from the light. I say that a lot of the times. A lot of people are peace and light, peace and light, peace and light. A lot of people are team dark side, team dark side, team dark side. The enlightened one has the balance of the light and the dark, has the balance of the negative and the positive, has control over what serves them and what does not serve them. You can go through both spaces. You can move through both. You can move through the multiple angles of light. What happens is a lot of times is we're stuck. And what happens with right now, like the reason I came up with generational lust is there's spells every single day that a lot of people don't even realize that you are still under the mind control. If certain things are still getting to you in an aspect of you get angry, like not another fucking slave movie. Then they put out 12 Years a Slave. They put out another slave movie. Oh my God, they want to put Julia Roberts as Harriet Tubman. I can't believe they would do that. If you cannot believe what they can do at this level at this time, then you're still under the mind control. If they still can get to you in some way, shape, or form, and it still resonates with you, it still brings emotion, they still can control your emotion, and then it sways your feelings towards something, you're still under the mind control. You're still in it. You're still locked into it. You don't realize that you're the glitch. You don't realize that you're the ocean. You're still looking for a different wavelength, a different frequency, not understanding that you're the frequency. You're the conduit of the frequency. You're the creator. We are the generators, the operators, and the destroyers. We're the creators. Anything outside of that doesn't even fucking matter anymore. You get to a point where the things that you keep seeing every single day don't even matter anymore. The things that don't resonate with you on the level that you're at, you have a deeper understanding for it. That is becoming enlightened. That is the becoming enlightened. That is gaining the traction and growing in your knowledge and growing in your craft. That is you working on your gift. Every level is blood orange. Every level that you get to requires you to go through you have to go through a different set of rules, different set of tasks at that level. If you get hung up on the ritual, you take away from your power. If you get stuck on the ritual, your power gets stuck to it. Anything you put your attention on, that now has access to your power. A lot of the things that still resonate with us, and now that we're at a higher level, we have to start observing more. We have to start working on our occult mind more. We're understanding the hidden, we're understanding the conversation behind the conversation. So when we see a movie, when you see some shit like Surviving R. Kelly is now on Netflix, you see Surviving R. Kelly, from the level that we're at, we're understanding why they can put that out there. We're understanding why it can attach to people emotionally. Because anything that usually attaches to you emotionally can get you emotionally, connect to you, resonate with you, get you in get you in an ill mood. That's something that you haven't worked on. That's something that you haven't looked into. Whenever I do the spiritual content, whenever I do consultations and I'm helping you map out and trace your subconscious, the things that I bring up are things that are within you that that's you, not me. I cannot put anything into your head other than the pieces that are used to pull it out. I only can bring it to the surface as far as deep as you believe as you bring it to the surface. But you have to be willing to do the work. A lot of the things that we don't put the work into are the things that are steady being used. We're in this level is of everything has been twisted and taken away from our divine science, our divine math, our divine rights, everything that's divine of us, that is natural of us being the originals, came from this space. It's ours. We know that part. We built the pyramids. We know that part. We understand the balance of Mayat. We know that part. We understand that we were the Phoenicians. We know that part. We understand that we're the Kemites. We're the Phoenicians. We're the Sumerians. We know these parts, or we're coming into understanding of knowing these parts. But what we're not understanding is that is to show us the positives of what we were. What are you now? Just similar to just similar, and we're going to reiterate on my first lecture about generational curses, the breakdown of us. That was the first time. That's probably like the prequel. That's like the beginning. It's in the lecture link. It's on my channel. Look into that one. We're going to touch on a lot of the subjects from there and go deeper into them. But the aspect of what we're going at in our lives is, why are we at where we are? Why are we at where we are at now? How does this shit still keep coming up? Because it's not meant for you. It's not meant for you to try to fix it. It's meant for you to understand it so you can better defend yourself from it. A lot of the times we get lost, we get lost in translation because it's the simplest things that are happening in our lives. It's the simplest things that we look at every single day that we overlook. We're not diving into the depth. One thing that I notice when I do a lot of my spiritual consults, I'm having conversations with people that are coming into I can hear the chains moving based on the things that I say, because I come from a higher space. So I can tell Queen, I feel that Lilith energy coming from you. I feel that Kali energy coming from you. And they can respond like, you mean Adam's first wife? Like, it's deeper than that. As we're getting into these levels, we have to understand the perversions are now attached to us based on what happened to our ancestors. Our ancestors went through everything from the buck breaking, the Willie Lynch is still in effect. All these things are still in effect simply because of the fact that we're straying away from, we're still turning a blind eye to it, but still being angry at it. Now, instead of us facing it and submitting to the attribute, to the ideal, to understand it more, we say fuck it all together. That's the same exact, it's the same exact thing that's the same exact premise as Christianity or religion. We went from being bound to Christianity, bound to whatever religion, and now we're bound to the different tiers of consciousness. We get bound to the different tiers of consciousness. We get bound to the different sciences. In order to understand why we continuously get bound to something, we have to understand the source. The source is, of course, ourselves. What happened in your life at a certain point in time that led you to where you're at now. So we're going to get into those. We're going to get into those things. Nothing can come from the level that you're at. Nothing new can be created under this sun at this level that we are at. Everything that you'll try to create has already been done before. So since it's already been done before, it's going to already be defeated. That's similar to the marching, protesting. The protesting and the marching has been done before. So you cannot do another march. You can't do another protest, whether it's silent, hands up, don't shoot, kneeling. You can't do any of these things. They become degenerative of the power that they create. I remember looking at the entire Colin Kaepernick thing, and I remember looking at the entire Colin Kaepernick thing, and he was kneeling at the games and about the brutality and all this controversy. But then I looked at it from another angle. I looked at it from another angle of light. Any game, NFL, NBA, whatever it may be, it's two opposing teams battling to get in each other's end zone, get each other somebody else's side of the court, or whatever it may be. It's built off the controversy of battling back and forth. So if I kneel at one of these games, I just add energy to the controversy. If I acknowledge something emotionally, I add to that source. I add to that energy. You're adding to energy. The unhealed traumas that are in your life, when something reflects in front of you and you react to it emotionally, outright emotionally, because you felt like because you've been through it and it's okay. We've been through things. But what are you doing with your energy to get through it? Allowing it to art of war. You're showing your weakness. You're showing your hand. The art of war, I think it's like the third or fourth law of the art of war is never show your opponent your hand. How else did you think we were here before all of this shit? So where do you think they learned everything from? Whose paper did you think they learned to cheat from? The way they acquired it to sustain this level is the way they must continue doing it. The way that this realm was created is the same way they must sustain it. So your controversy, your protesting, your marching, your unhealed trauma, your reality show beefs, your reality show type lifestyles, all of this shit must be kept in this same containment. You got to care about it. You're caring about it. Remember, I said caring is ego. Caring is ego. I no longer care about the things that are going on around me. I am aware of them, so I know how to navigate, but I no longer care about them. Because if something really gets to me in my core and it really hits me, that means it's something I need to work on. If something really hits me, that means I need to work on it. And tonight, we're going to bring a lot of these things to the surface that people aren't working on. Just the thoughts. We have to make these things normal. We have to take away the power of us being unable to have these conversations, because us not being able to have these conversations still allows those entities, those archons, these entities to come into our lives and feed upon us based on unhealed traumas, based on unhealed thoughts, based on unhealed guilts and regrets and resentments and things that you kept down so low inside of yourself. As I keep saying, and I will continue to keep saying, the only way to get to your true power is to go in through all of that shit. Jesus in the manger, root chakra. Some of y'all are out of alignment. You're getting power, That's like you take an extension cord. If you break it slightly and you wiggle it around, it still can get some power to it. Like you plug your phone in, your charger ain't shit. You know, you done duct tape your charger, put black electric around your charger, and you gotta wiggle it a certain way to get the power to it. So we're serving from a broken power base. So we're losing power. So we're accepting a little bit of the power because that's where we came from. Because religion taught you that we're all one body and all you got to do is believe. And as long as you believe and you put yourself under these thoughts, you put yourself in this mindset, you'll receive. If you don't receive, guess what? You got to pray some more. You got to pray some more. You got to submit more. You got to submit more. And that's what's happening around us every single day. We got to start breaking the fucking chains. Generations upon generations, we went from greats, the originals, warriors, to being enslaved, to being in all these different positions. Now we're in a position where we are in a chemically induced slavery. We're in a sustainability of this light type slavery. They no longer have to shackle you. They just got to shackle your mind. All they got to do is put out a chakra book, you dig, and you'll wait for the next chakra book. We're still waiting. We're still waiting for someone else to lead us. You don't need a leader. You're your own leader. We don't need something outside of us. Who taught us this? Similar to what Malcolm X said, who taught you how to hate yourself? Who taught you how to walk the way you're walking? The problem with us is Charles Manson. I was looking at a Charles Manson interview the other day, and I think I posted it on my Facebook. We've been taken out of our element and put into another element. And we can put on all the binaural beats we want, all the shamanic music. We can put on all these things, but that's simply making the shell pretty. It's making the breaks pretty. Generations upon generations have been lost. We're now lusting instead of actually putting in any work. We carry the same mindsets and thought processes of our predecessors. We still carry on the same thought processes and vices as our so-called fucking oppressors. We're still waiting for somebody else to prove to us something. What would happen right now? I said that 2 weeks ago. What would happen right now if Donald Trump, some person came on TV and was like, we're giving it all back to black people. We're going to give it all back to the indigenous people. What the fuck you going to do with it? For a little while, your ego is going to feel, hell yeah. Yeah, we got everything back. We got all the money. But if your mind is not organized or disciplined, you won't know what to do with it. The thing that they have learned, and they've learned that intellectual level, that intellectual bit of information, is they've learned how to submit to whatever they need to submit to in order to survive. They've learned how to submit to these things to get what they want based on their own perversions of their own fucking mind. this is what we're lost on. This is what we keep getting lost in. They enslaved us. They raped us. They pillaged us. You can listen to somebody say that shit over and over and over a fucking again, and it gets you all emotional. You get all strong for a little bit. You get emotional. Man, they raped us and they killed us and they hung our grandmothers, and we got to make sure they pay. Think about it like this. Them doing all of that shit, at the end of the day, when you go back to your house, you're still paying for your lights. At the end of the day, you're still going to the grocery store. You're still growing food. You're still within that system. And economic power base doesn't fucking matter. Building schools and building businesses doesn't matter, because that's at the lower level. That's at the trickle down. We're trying to put our minds locked in. I don't want my kids educated like I was. I don't want my children to go through what I went through. I don't want my people to go through what I went through to get to this page. But we don't even know where the fuck to start at. We don't understand that, yo, you hate something so bad, therefore anything that comes from that, you won't do. You're masking your hide it away. But let's get into this lecture. The things that have rocked us to our very core reverberate into our energy, to our power. So as you unlock yourself, everything that came before you is still in your DNA. So just because it didn't happen to you directly, but it happened to you indirectly at a point in time due to your bloodlines, it's still within you. The perversion is still within you. It's grew and it's uprooted and it's now within you. And due to the mind control and the chemical altering and all this shit that's in the food, all the shit that's in the air, all the shit that's in the media and the sound waves, all the shit around you, that's how it gets activated. The trauma activates. I broke down last week. Broke down last lecture, the sex lecture. Much appreciation. It's at 285 views right now. But it's deeper than sex. That's what that generational curse is. The thoughts are the masculine, or the knowledge. The thoughts are the knowledge of the masculine. The mind is the feminine. The spiritual realm, that's that feminine energy. That's the magnet. So everything magnetizes towards it. That's why they say, that's whenever whatever a man deposits into his woman, into his queen, she can magnify it because she nurtures it. So the same things that happen over and over and over again are just, all they do is repeat things and they put new faces on it. I love that our queens are more independent and they've taken over and they have more independent, and that balance, that divine balance is coming back in, that feminine energy is coming in, and now they're taking over things that are most educated ones in America, and all these notes and all these footnotes, all that's good and dandy. But it follows the same premise. You're cheering for that, but not understanding the depth of how detrimental it is to us if we're not moving on the same accordance. It's fun, but we're not on the same accordance. Just like it's nothing is new under the sun. Once you take that thought process into your mind, there's nothing new under the sun. So when they flash, now that the only thing different that now they have cameras and they put it on TV. Everybody has body cameras. Everybody has cameras. So something of acknowledging the abducting, sex trafficking, and abduction. That's not fucking new. They were doing sex trafficking, abductions, stealing, kidnapping. That's some of the same archetype shit that happened to our ancestors. Same shit. That's in the DNA. So since that's marked in your DNA, in your genetics, along with all the other shit, is marked in your genetics, so are the markers, the triggers to those traumas in your DNA. That's why it still can phase you. If I rape your culture enough, financially, mentally, and physically, the longer I go on with it, and you're not going to say anything or you're not going to work on it, the more and more I can do it because I know it's still attached to you. It's only when we're becoming reactive and not proactive. In the same timeline feed, somebody can say, we got to watch our children. It takes a village to raise a child. We need to watch our children. We need to do all of this. But that's similar to the same thing as Uncle Ricky's now a deacon in the church. But when he was younger, cousin Sophia, who's now out in the world turning tricks for a fix, when she was 4 or 5, she was being touched by Uncle Ricky. She was getting passed around by Uncle Ricky and his friends. But since he's a deacon in the church now, he's all holy and sanctified. You can't speak nothing bad about his name. He did so much. He's done so much for the community. All of his sins are covered in the blood of Jesus. All his sins are covered in the blood of Jesus. All his perversions are covered. You can't speak bad about Uncle Ricky anymore. Let's not speak bad about Uncle Ricky anymore. You can't. Until you're willing to expose the very things that are deep inside of you, you can't do any work. You can ask for all the tarot card readings you want. You can get all the natal chart readings you want. You can get all of these readings that you want. But if you're not going to put into work to what is happening, what is being brought to the surface, what is the point of you doing it? If you're only doing the work to make it more easy for yourself to be here, why are you even really putting in the work? You're not woke. You're just diet woke. You're aware, but you're not reaching to the level. And now, but the state, you're getting more angry at that level every time you get to that level because you're getting stuck based on anger. But now you want everybody to see you as the most spiritual gangster on the planet. Spirituality is not about things not getting to you. Spirituality is not about things not phasing you. It's about the things that come into your life. You have a deeper understanding in navigating through them. As you get higher into this, you get to the point that this humanity shit ain't shit. This ego, the egotistical emotional shit doesn't fucking matter. None of that shit fucking matters. But let's get into the generational curses and the deeper insights of the generational curses to understand these are the things, how they all this equate back there. Everything's going to come back to you. I had a conversation the other day. And there was 4 generations. Yes, it was a couple months ago. The other day, just restarted the conversation. In my family, as sleep as they may be, in my family, I had to realize my mother, the things that she did were based on her truth of what she saw fit for her life. So the things that weren't talked about or the things that were kept under hush were to better keep her reality that she was creating in that space. So I had to accept that being in that space, I had to confine myself or restrict myself or keep myself within those rules and those laws of that space, of that world, in order for myself to survive in that world. When I came into my awakening, my first awakening, I was still trying to go back and I was trying to teach my people. I was trying to drop off knowledge. I was trying to say, hey, yo, yeah, the water has fluoride in it. That's bad. That's bad for our bodies. Meat, we don't need milk. Milk's bad for us. I was saying all these things that were bad for us. All these things that were bad for us. But I started sounding more and more crazy. I started sounding more and more militant. I started sounding more and more pro-black righteous. And it caused rifts. Me still operating in the emotional side of myself, I would respond emotionally. That's because I was still tethered to the things that, the only reason the things could still get to me because I was still tethered to the generational curses. I still wanted money. I still wanted to be accepted for what I was. I was wanting to be accepted for what I was and didn't want to be changed or judged upon it. But the reflection that was being shown to me was, then why are you trying to change them? Why aren't you learning from it? We literally buck break and buck dance and soft shoe every single fucking day. A lot of the conscious, they do the buck dance and they do all the soft shoeing and they get buck breaked every fucking day. That shit's still apparent. It just doesn't have to be done with pulling down that man's pants and raping him in his ass. They've upgraded based on the level that they're at. So instead of me raping you in your ass, I'll rape your pockets. You'll stay quiet. KRS once said, a man's paycheck, the paycheck controls how much truth comes out of your mouth. So do you really want money? How bad do you really want the money? Because there's countless ways, because none of our text went over the aspect of money and how to make money. Even when you look at the comedic sciences, all of the walls talked about death and not coming back here. Becoming the day, the book of the dead, becoming the day, becoming a god, going back to yourself. Everything that we are reading is activating something in you for something more. We cannot be getting stuck on the shit here. We get stuck on the shit here every fucking day. That's what we're getting stuck on. Why is it still tethered to you? Who are you trying to prove shit to? Why is your ego your best friend? If your mindset is on wherever you're at in yourself of your path, that's for you. But the ultimate goal is not to come back to this shit. So here's the thought. If I don't want my kids taught in the schools, I have no children yet. If I don't want my kids, my nieces and my nephews taught at these schools, the lowest level for it is like, okay, cool, let me teach them myself. But on a higher level, why don't I create a space where I'm not conflicted? One thing my pop said that I did agree with through my years of being an adolescent was, whatever you learn at that schoolhouse, come home and we'll learn the truth. We never learned the truth. We learned his truth based on religion, but we never learned the truth in that aspect of itself. You're in school right now. Everything around you is your teacher. Everything that you've been through, traumatic, that is your teacher. Until we understand that everything is for us to be taught, we will continually see the sexual gratification. Right now, everything's been reduced down to the most mundane. Sexual gratification, chasing some type of bag, looking good, looking better than the other motherfucker. But all motherfuckers are doing right now is basically going to go put on Jordans and go put on fucking jumpsuits. Go put on truck and track suits and shit from Fashion Nova and fucking stilettos for black parties and white parties and whatever parties, just to look like the richest broke motherfucker in the room. Where did that shit come from? That shit came from fucking slavery. They still have the slave mentality. The dead are in the slave mentality. You can see a motherfucker and how much slave mentality they are in based on how they operate, based on how they move. Everybody, all you can control is your reaction to how a motherfucker moves and how a motherfucker is hurt. These motherfuckers are hurting. They don't want to see Uncle Ricky touch Sophia when she was little and deal with that. I'm covered in the blood of Jesus because Jesus heals all. They don't want to see past that. Because to go past that, it takes away everything that they gain from it. Everything that they gain from it. Motherfuckers have literally went from, let's break these curses. The curses that we're trying to break, or that we break, that we're trying to break, we're saying we're strong. We're the ones that are to break and bridge these gaps and open up these doors. The curses that were once put upon us are now being applied for. The curses that we have, the curses that we once were fighting against and our ancestors fought against just to survive are now being applied for every single day. They're submitting to get something to survive. You're getting something to survive. I'll tell you something that's super fucking real. I don't get sick. Because in my mind, I am a god. So I don't get sick. But let something happen to you, let something happen, and motherfucker gotta go to that doctor, go to the hospital. What happened to all that shit you were talking about, conscious knowledge, and actually healing yourself? It's a facade. Some of these motherfuckers are in a facade. They are literally in a facade. It sounds good to say on the screen. It sounds good to say in front of cameras, in front of people, because it gets everybody pumped up emotionally. But at the end of the fucking day, what are you really fucking doing? All I do nowadays is integrate myself into systems. Fight Club. What's the first rule of Fight Club? There is no Fight Club. I integrate myself into systems. It's your shit anyway. When you integrate into, when a virus is uploaded into a computer, the computer has to the computer is rewritten, the motherboard is now rewritten and is rewritten, and now it operates at that virus. Whatever that virus was put in there to do, that's what that computer shall do. It's time to rewrite the virus that's been put into your head. You're the virus. We got to get past this good and bad, peace and light bullshit. You're the virus. You're sitting here calling the white man the virus, the white man the parasite. How do you be the parasite? By introducing it to a bigger parasite? By introducing it to a stronger virus? How is an antidote created? By parts of the poison. We have the ability to absorb light. We have the ability to absorb everything and use it as fucking fuel. When are you going to start using this shit as fucking fuel? When are you going to start using the racism campaigns of let's make America great again as your fucking fuel? When are you going to start reversing it? And okay, cool, you want to make America great again? We're going to make America great again. We're the power source. When you respond to something negative, it propels it. When you respond to some shit negative, it propels it. It takes it further because that's what it's supposed to do. When they put this shit about sex trafficking on the fucking, when they put drugs in the community, when they put crack into the community, we made it a fucking business and made songs about it. They're still making songs about it to this day. Made songs so long about it, about being a dealer. Now motherfuckers are addicts. When you look at rap music now, When rap music was taken over by Eminem and the white rappers, I clapped. I was like, hell yeah. Fell for it. Because all they can talk about is what they know. So all M talked about most of his fucking career, even with his amazing vernacular, was drugs. All Wayne talked about was drugs. So now you see these white kids out here popping pills, Xannies. But now we got our kids, we got our youth popping pills, numbing from pain. What pains are they numbing away from? In order to help somebody, you have to be willing to submit yourself to the ideals of what the fuck happened. What led them to that? What the fuck did you keep looking a blind wild way to? That's what the generation being lost. That's what that generational lust is for. They're numbing their pains. Now in this conscious movement, we're numbing our pains by saying, fuck Jesus, and Jesus wasn't fucking real, it was a fucking myth. All right, cool. We know it was a myth. But so is most of our stuff. How do we tell stories? Through myths. How do we put our information out? About storytelling. The art of storytelling was the ability, the art of storytelling is to tell a story in a story. So we know that Jesus isn't real. But at the same time, Jesus is real. Because the analogy of Jesus, the whole book, is talking about the awakening of yourself, the worship of the Son or the soul. The books were created for our children to understand us. It was written for our children to understand us. But in order for our children to have something to understand and to have a physical image of what it is to what it becomes, don't we have to start acting like the fucking gods? How the fuck do we act like gods? I'm glad you asked. Start reading the fucking books. It's your information. Half of the people, you'll have half a bunch of people saying, well, it's astrology and it's all this shit. Okay, cool. You have the other half of the people bucking again, saying, man, fuck it. It's not real. So how do you think that affects the subconscious mind of somebody coming into their consciousness? Then you hear people talk about agents. There's motherfucking indirect agents out there every fucking day. Because there's no scholarship. Bobby Hemming, Brother Panic, Phil Valentine. The list goes on. They gave us scholarship. Bobby Hemming went into breaking down the mythos of the dark side. Panic carried that on into the aspects of living that shit. Now we're in the phase we have to start applying this knowledge. How do we apply the knowledge? To the very soundscapes of the traumas that led us to where we're at now. So if you don't want to talk about that molestation, if you're not wanting to talk about that rape, if you're not wanting to talk about all of these things, that's why I can continue being repeated and showed to you on the screen. Because they know you're not going to say anything about it. So I can put out another slave movie and show somebody being raped in a movie. But now I can change the image. You already think that we're so bad and you give them all their energy. So guess what? Let's make ourselves look better than them. Because that's what they're waiting for. You're waiting for somebody to look better to you. You're lusting over shit that you already fucking know. Why the fuck do I even give a fuck? Why would I even care if Donald Trump, Ronald Reagan, one of these white people, what do I give a fuck if one of my kids tell me some shit that I already know? It's how I react and move to it that matters. That's where that's our consciousness of where we're at. We have to let go of this aspect and fucking thought process that somebody is going to give us something. Nobody can create anything more sustainable in power than you. Nobody can create anything more sustainable in power, in marvel, than you. That is the examples that were left for us in the stone. That's the pyramids. That's every great monument. That's what that was shown to us. But we can't be stuck in that past of we built the pyramids. Because all they got to do is come out with an episode on Ancient Aliens. We still don't know how the pyramids were built. I don't give a fuck about building more pyramids. I don't give a fuck about making more money. I want the science of how we built the pyramids. We built it through sound. Now that I have the knowledge on how we built the pyramids, how can I apply that knowledge to my daily life now and use that power to create something else of a higher existence for myself? They were in a mindset where they had no burdens or resentments. But we're sitting here clouded with doubts and resentments of shit that we don't talk about. We don't talk about it until it's fucking too late. They'll tell you about suicide watches. But we don't talk about the issues that are, we make the suicide watch more normal than actually talking about the things that lead to suicides. You see how that tethers to itself? If I don't talk about the problem, if I don't talk about the cause, I can't control the effect. We're not following cosmic law. We're not following the hermetic, we're not following the cosmic laws. So if we don't understand, if we don't have an understanding of those things, we don't understand, if we don't have the understanding, the foundation, which is the knowledge, then we damn sure can't fucking apply it. And even if we start applying it, what are you applying it to? How do you unlock it? Remember last week, I broke down all your powers within a box. If you could, there's all your power into a cube right in front of you. How do you unlock that? How do you unlock that power into yourself? How do you unlock that power in yourself? By everything that's within you, you have to dig into. You got to be the realist with yourself. When I start doing more of these classes, we're going to get deeper within yourself. The tears are going to need to flow. The angers are going to need to come out. All of that emotion needs to come to the fucking surface of the generations upon generations, because everything that is not ever, things repeat themselves if they're not understood. Things repeat themselves if they are not understood. So our enslaved ancestors that were molested, raped over and over and over again, that translated into Uncle Ricky molesting Cousin Sophia. It's following the line. It's on the timeline. But until you talk about what happened, the shit's going to continue. And then the reflection is always magnified. Remember, when you look in the mirror, when you look in the rearview mirror, things look closer than they fucking seem. The shit's right there in front of your fucking face. That shit's happening. So the sex trafficking resonates in your fucking mind because somewhere down the line, something happened to you. Something happened to somebody you know. Something happened to a family member. If they're not willing to get to the bottom of it, let the dead lay with the dead. But you need to get to the bottom to it for you. You're a chaos being. That negative, positive energy, that calamity, you're going to cause that fucking calamity. It's going to create the needed separation. It's going to bring purity. Purity comes through fucking fire. It's talked about in Revelations. First time I came with a flood. That's when the water rose in you. That's when you fluidly came into your body. 40 days, 40 nights. That the 33 vertebrae, that means everything filled up. That's when this vessel was filled. And what was left was the version that you are now. Now the fire has to rise to burn away everything to bring you back into your gold, into your bronze, into your temple, to purify your temple. How do you purify your temple? You have to purify your temple by removing the impurities that were put there. How do you remove the impurities that were put there? You got to put in that fucking shadow work. That shit that happened in your fucking day-to-day, back in your past, that you continue trying to jump over, that's the shit you're going to have to go through. That reoccurring dream that makes you feel, that reoccurring dream of being chased by something or being held down by something, that's the subconscious telling you, you at the point you need to be at. Guess what? We need to put in that fucking work. You can meditate, light all the fucking candles you want, do all the fucking rituals that you want. You're going to keep getting wishy-washy manifestations. You're going to keep getting wishy-washy readings. You're going to keep getting wishy-washy. You're going to keep getting unbalanced shit in your fucking life because you haven't dealt with the shit to balance yourself. That's what we're getting. That's what we're stuck on. We're not balancing ourselves. Everybody wants to be so pure fucking light, or they want to be all of the fucking dark. The motherfuckers that are in the light, they're sustaining and I'm working on me this year. New year, new me. Next 2020 is going to be nothing but manifestations in my fucking life. In order for the manifestations to take fucking faith, you got to put them in the dirt. You got to put them in the soil. The soil is dark. That's how that shit cultivates to grow new roots. You have to uproot the old toxicity out of you and put in the new. You have to reroot yourself in your truth. Because in the back of your mind, you still love your mother. In the back of your mind, you still love them fucking kids. In the back of your mind, you still love that aunt. Even if you hate the person, even if you hurt the person even if you hate the person that hated you, that hurt you, you still give them your power because you hate them. And since you put so much energy into hating them, they still have power. Because everything that reflects, that looks like them, or acts like them, or says things like they said, resonates with something that will make you not go to the next level. So you can't even get in a fucking relationship because Uncle Ricky touched on you when you were little. Or Aunt Gloria, the aunt of the fucking neighborhood, was out there turning out little boys. Or Uncle Sylvester of the neighborhood was turning out little boys too. So that whole community has to say sleep. So why do you keep going there? That's where your power keeps going back into. That power of forgiveness, you're not forgiving no motherfucker but for yourself. Forgiving your own subconscious for what you put yourself through. To let go of that shit. That was me when I was dead. Now that I've awakened, that ain't me no more. Yeah, I robbed. Yeah, I used to go in the corner store and take quarter waters and take little 25-cent apple juices and fucking chips with my cousins. That's not me anymore. Yeah, I participated. Yeah, I participated indirectly in the rape culture of listening to Biggie say shit like, say the shit that he said in lines that was like, damn, this is motherfucking hard ass fucking lines. But yeah, I admit to doing that shit. Yes. But I admit to it because that was me at that level in time. This is how you break through your fucking subconscious. The key to breaking the generational lust that's within you of being accepted by any other thing outside of you is accepting that you did the shit. Accept your hand that was dealt to you. And once you accept the hand that was dealt to you, you can now use that hand in your favor. Once you accept that detrimental death, the skull that is permitted, skull equates to death. Skull equates to skill. Once you understand the death of that level came to a head, you understood the skill of that level came to a head, I hand you your skull. Here is your skill. Get inside your own fucking head. Our priest in my past life, the reason I studied the reason why I was always into skulls and I was into death. In the aspect of scary ass images and all these pictures, skulls, ghouls, ghosts, and goblins. It's because I had a deeper understanding of my past life when I went through that stage of my past life. I now understand that symbols, repetition, and trauma, or rites of passage, repetitious acts, were the keys. I understood that if I saw a skull or a gargoyle or some figure in one of my dreams, I understood that in order for me to face that, that's the next level I had to get to. I don't look for flowing meadows and shit. That means I'm coming back here. I'm trying to get as far away from here as possible. How do I get far away from here as possible? Going deeper and deeper into the dark. So when you start having those dreams, when you're in a abandoned castle, and there's a door right there, and it's fire behind the door, and they got like a dragon on the front, walk up to the door. Walk into the fire. It's your mind, it can't hurt you. Your unconscious thought process, the unconscious part of you, your ego, is telling you that fire will hurt you. You're at a level where that shit cannot hurt you. You're at a level where that shit cannot phase you. If you believe it can hurt you, then it can hurt you. Similar to just that's the dream of the reality. So when you come into this conscious illusion, you come into the dead world, everything that you saw in your dream that can hurt you will be reflected in some way, shape, or form to hurt you in the real world. So that's how you get sick. That's how you get bogged down with memories. That's similar to a child. When a child goes through some shit like a divorce in their family. That's one big generational curse for us. They go through a divorce in the family. The first thing that happens is you always see the picture every time you see it on like a show or a movie. They always draw a monster under the bed, or they always draw something in the closet, or they say there's a monster in my house. It yells and yells and screams. And they always say it ate daddy or it ate mommy. It's always carrying a bottle. There's two things that are close enough are closer to the spiritual realm than you. The way that you get back to it is by going back to your imagination or back to your childlike mindset, which Bobby Hemming broke that down in a lot of lectures. A child and an elder. A child and an elder. Even the most dead elder will bestow upon knowledge to you based on life experience that will help you aid you into your growth. The only other one that can do more of that and teach you more is a child. Watch how a child navigates through life. So back to that monster. The psychologist looks like, is there something happening in your house that we don't know about? The monster touches me at night. The monster touches me at night. And it tells me not to tell anybody. That child created a scenario in their mind so their ego can defend against it when it happens. All this time about breaking away from our child luck, that in us being indoctrinated over and over again, and we're taken away from the imagination of cartoons, looking at Rugrats and saying that shit's stupid now when we're older. That's the shit we need to get back fucking into. Because that helps us break. Because what your ego does is it creates based on what's in your subconscious mind. So it creates its defenses based on what's in your subconscious. So if in your subconscious mind you say fuck white people, your ego defends you against what? White people and everything white people do. But if you put in your subconscious mind the thought process of they're my children and I have to learn from your children. You learn just as much from the children as you learn from yourself. And you understand once you look at that, once you submit in your mind, in your subconscious, the attributes of a child and equate them to the attributes of what's outside of you. Like you say white people, we'll say white people in this case. You say white people, look at the attributes of a child, how a child acts when it doesn't get its way, when it's not fed, when it's hungry, when it's sleepy, when it's not getting what it wants. And then you look at the people around you and look how they equate to a child. They don't have control of their emotions. They don't have control of their emotions. So they can't control their feelings. They can't control their power. So whatever power that they do get is more chaotic. And the things that they are able to control, that's what they use their power in, because it benefits them on that level. So the paradox that comes into our minds over and over and over again when we're going through these certain things is what tethers and links us to these things. These are the things we have to start looking into. These are those key aspects of what's happening to us. We go into this thought process daily and day in and day out. You can sit here and say every fucking day that you are great, that you can have all the positive thoughts you want. But what comes out to reinforce those positive thoughts are the negative attributes in order for you to get higher to the positive. The negative propels the positive. You must go through the negative to rise to the positive. That's how the charge is made. The charge that propels the positive is connected to that negative base. The charge that propels that positive energy to go up further comes from that negative base. But if you don't understand the parts that are in the negative containment, then that toxicity goes into your positive. So when they say America being great again, from their angle, America was great when you were a slave. When you were enslaved, when you were a prisoner of war. So to maintain this illusion, I must keep you a slave to something. I must keep you a slave to your job. I must keep you a slave to your emotions. I must keep you a slave to something. How do I keep you a slave to something? This is one way to keep you being a slave. The perversions that they show you are from, to understand everything that's happening now is because this illusion is on a decline. The same way things begin are the same thing they go back to their source. Phil Valentine breaks that down in a lecture. He did it back in 2002. Forgot the name of that bitch. Beautiful fucking lecture. He was talking about homosexuality based on that level. But everything you're seeing with the LGBT community, the reason that it's in the forefront, is that that's their understanding of your androgynous nature. That's their understanding of the balances of masculine and feminine energy. They don't have the balance of masculine and feminine energy. It's an imbalance. Whenever you see it, it's an imbalance. Somewhere down the line, there was an imbalance that built to that. You got to understand the base. You got to understand the basis in order to get higher. But back into the thought process of how they get into you every single day. I can show you any fucking slave movie I want on television. I can tell you that Harriet Tubman, I can create fictional characters within the movie. You'll get upset. You're a slave to your fucking emotions. Because somewhere deep inside of you, you still want to be fucking human. You still want to be recognized as a fucking human. You still want to be recognized as a fucking equal. You're hoping for equality. You're hoping that if you can prove that you're hoping that you can prove that you're a God, because in you resonating, the reason that you hate Jesus so much is perhaps, maybe because they gave you their image of a God. So now you want to equate to be the image of them. That's the equality. If you're really thinking about equality that much, what you're saying to yourself is they're gods. They're demiurges. They're below you. You created, your energy trickled down to create them. So they're only doing, based on their vibration, what is normal to them in their mind. So why are you upset at your child? Why are you upset with them? How can you be upset with something that doesn't know any better? That's like me when I walk. If I went into McDonald's tomorrow, which I wouldn't because I don't eat McDonald's. But if I go into McDonald's tomorrow, there's motherfuckers in there that if you sit there and you make an order on the fucking, you would tell them, hey, yo, I want a quarter pound of no pickles. They will sit there and literally they'll ask for the manager to, how do I ring in no pickles? They're doing what they're supposed to do. They're doing what they're supposed to do so you can learn what you're supposed to learn. It's all part of this same fucking script. You got to understand your power to understand your part in the script. The reason that you see everything on the levels that you see everything on is because you're on a different level. Your script is more detailed. You're not a part of the cast, as it would be said. You're the star role of the cast. You pledging for diamonds and gold. You're pledging your allegiance to something still outside of you. Take your energy back. Take your power back. It's your power. Everything that we study, we need to start resonating on what it is. That's everything that we study. We must understand how it resonates and how it connects to us. That's the key of the knowledge, of awakening the parts of you inside of your knowledge, inside of yourself. I can sit here for hours and hours upon hours, sit here and read many, many books and regurgitate shit to you and give you my interpretation. Yeah, hella five likes and follows and shares. But if anybody's seen my lives, anybody seen any of my lives or listened to my podcast or done looked at any of my other content, everything that I bring to you is based on the basis of observation. It's because we have to go into the basis of observation. We must be able to separate ourselves from the very restraints of what humanity is. Humanity is caring. Ego is caring. We can have all the compassion that we want. Compassion takes you to a greater scale of understanding and better observation. I observe with the utmost, highest compassion for what I'm seeing. That's whenever you read them scriptures in the Bible, talk about he looked at him with love and compassion. That's what he was looking at. That's what you were doing. Every time you see God, Jesus, the devil, Lucifer, Satan in the Bible, that's you. Brother Bobby Hemmings said that the best. Nigga, that's you. That's where you keep getting confused at. You turning a blind eye to your own self. Because you said you're trying to be human. So you guess what? You're going to carry the burdens of humanity until you wake the fuck up. You're going to continue carrying the burdens of humanity until you wake the fuck up. Stop carrying on these burdens. They're not you. They're not for you. You went through it. You've been there. You've done that. You got the t-shirt. Now it's time for you to understand it and use that power to do yourself more. You getting stuck on sex trafficking. But then you'll sit there and 15 seconds later, you'll put on Meg Thee Stallion. So you're mad at the sex trafficker, but you're not mad at the instruments used to create the over-sexualization of your people. So you don't understand the over-sexualization of your people, so you don't turn the music on its ear and reverse it to use it to empower. I'll listen to 21. Before, when I was in my budding consciousness, I would never listen to 21 Savage and Future. That shit's beneath me. Future's a goddamn genius. Anybody, consciously or unconsciously, that's not for me to judge that person. But anybody that puts into their mind and puts their name as Future Hendrix has some type of knowledge of something in the music. Something spoke to him abruptly. That's why you can't throw away. We get so stuck on messages not matching what we look like that we'll throw the whole message away. Even the demon, your Damien, is coming from a different level of intelligence that you haven't tapped into. Because he has a connection to something that you haven't tapped into. So that racist white man, which is basically the lowest level of racism, racist bigotry, is based off of fear. The highest level of racism is based off of understanding of you. So how do I make you not look into your higher self in reflection? How do I make you not look into your higher self? Easy. I'm gonna create a figure called racism. I'm gonna create an image to go with racism, and I'm gonna put it in front of you. I'm gonna put a fearmonger of racism in front of you. That bigot ass white dude that wants to wear a great make America great again hat. So I can steady read from your text, your information, our divine knowledge, steady read from it. But since I put that image of that racist white man in front of you, you can't see the book that I'm reading. Because he's learned to submit to the ideal attributes of what you hate. So in reflection, you submitted to the attributes of what he hates, what he loves. He's cheating off of your paper. How do you think they get the information that they get? How do you think they know about it? Because you don't deal with it in your own community. You don't deal with it yourself, so you outsource it and go out to one of them, and then they say, oh, that happened. That's not the things that happen that are unnatural to us is natural to them. Did you ever think about that shit? Everything that they've ever taken over, they've twisted it around and perverted it. But in order to understand how it got twisted around, you got to go through it first. So I can constantly put over-sexualized things in front of your face. I can put the over-sexualization of things in front of you every fucking day. Toxic rape culture, misogynistic views, put all this shit in front of you every single fucking day. It's because your hatred or your fear of understanding it, because it resonates with something that happened to you in your childhood, you won't go through it. I can put everything else I need behind it. That's the wall. You keep hearing Trump talk about building this fucking wall. All you're doing is empowering the wall over your own fucking wall, all over your own fucking mind. That's not my fucking president. That's not my fucking president. That's not my fucking president. I wish he would do that to the Mexicans, man. The city gonna go down. And then they have the other person on the other end talking about, I would never build a wall. I would never build a wall. But in order for us to do this, we have to put these laws in effect. Why do you think there's no immigration laws in effect? Everything is created for the space to continue the controversy and the chaos feeding off of your power. They know that you are the chaos. They know that. They know exactly what you are. Do you? They know exactly what you are. So until they figure something out to put a theory on it, such as chaos science or the quantum theory or all of these algorithms, whatever algorithm formula they put on the shit, they coin it as theirs. They put a space and time, put a bunch of fucking distractions. They put a bunch of distractions in it. Now you're deflected against away from it. Now you're sitting there. That ain't my wall. They ain't never got. Trump is never going to build the wall because he knows exactly what it would do to the economy on this physical realm. He will never build the fucking wall. You hardly hear about it. Now let's put some more distraction in front of your face. Talk about it being this nigga being impeached. And now he's going to fucking trial forever because the FBI files. Then he put another distraction in front of you. But while I'm putting this distraction in front of you, it keeps you further and further away from yourself. They don't give a fuck what the fuck the distraction is or what attention that it causes or what it stirs the fuck up. That's the chaos energy. Your power is the chaos. You're the chaos being. You're the titan. They got to continuously feed from you every single fucking day. So they feed from you. And they do it in such small, mundane ways. Because it's shit that you haven't dealt with. Why does the exploitation still get to you? Because you haven't dealt with something that happened in your childhood. Somewhere down the line in your fucking family, that's when you have to start digging in that family tree and understanding the roots of your family tree. How the strange fruit started growing on your fucking tree. You're the strangest fruit on the tree. Because out of everything that came up out of the tree, you grew up to be awakened. You grew up to be fucking conscious. You had an awareness. Now it's your job to work on yourself. It's your job to save yourself. The gap that's going to be created, you're going to leave that light behind. Them little lit up illuminated breadcrumbs. That's the path that they're going to follow. But they can't see it until they go into the dark. But I can't tell you about the dark until I went through the dark. You got to get to a certain level in order to let it trickle down. That's that key. That's the key aspect. We're getting stuck in these small little burning houses. I saw a post the other day about we have to get rid of the European concepts. And then I look back at the information. If we get rid of the European concepts or get out of the European concepts, we will lose more traction about ourselves. Because the European concepts that they have perverted, you got to go through those concepts of understanding those concepts to get back to your original self. The light to the dark. They put their face on our shit. So it makes it look, the light that they show you is the dark. So if I tell you spirituality is about peace and light, here's the secret. I tell you it's about peace and light. Anything that's coming from evil, which this means to live, anything that's coming from that evil or that dark space, you won't look into. So I'll put everything in that dark box. I'll put everything in that little dark space. You can go back, understand where did the name for Europe come from anyway? From a Moorish queen named Europa. So European concepts, we understand that they never created anything. They simply were taught, or they mimicked our shit any fucking way. So their concepts that are European are our concepts. Based on their level of intellectual and intelligence, that's how they created what they created. So you're sitting here talking about creating an economic plan. You're sitting here talking about building communities. Who better to look at than the motherfuckers that are doing it now? They're doing what you did already. They're putting in the work for you to study. They're the custodians of your knowledge. So generations upon generations upon generations of hating hating white people, and generations of hating you has put you at a fucking standstill, because that's what keeps you at the standstill. People that sit there and say, I couldn't have been back in them times. I wouldn't have been a slave. I couldn't have been a slave. I would have been rebellious as fuck. You're a fucking liar. Just telling yourself something in your ego to make you feel better. If you were put back in that same position, in the same thought processes of trying to survive in that space, you would do the same things your ancestors did. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't have gone through what you had to go through. It was already prophesied. We wrote all that shit down. We wrote all that shit down. How do you think that they put together the Bible? How do you think that they put together the Torah? How do you think they put together these religious texts? They had to get the information from somewhere. They copying off your paper, nigga. How do you think they were able to pervert sex? The power of sex and the energy of sex. How do you think they were able to pervert it? From our shit. Then they write a book called Sexual Tantra. They write a book, the Kama Sutra. And then they go put that book in their little sex store. Right next to the gay porn. Right next to the bondage tools. All the little bondage toys. Them same bondage toys are the same toys. When you look up the fucking images on fucking Google, those are the same devices that they use to bend these motherfuckers in the same perverted tools that they use to fucking twist and create that, stir that energy up with inside you. To stir that energy up with inside you to convert you. Because they had an understanding that through the alchemy of sex, you can convert something into something else. They had a sense of the intellectual level of using that to convert something through alchemy. So they repeated it over and over and over again. So guess what? You kept looking away and away from your spirituality. So then it came into your realm and through the intellectual thought process. I don't know what possessed him to touch his daughter. I don't know what possessed him to do this. The spell was written all through the books. The spell it's ingrained in your DNA. You want to be human so bad? They're at the lowest level vibration. They're humans. They eat themselves. The cannibalism, they eat themselves. They will rape themselves. They rape Mother Earth every fucking day to get something out of it. How do you think that reflects into your life? Generation upon generation of rapes and pillages, reaping what they sow. They reaping from what they sow still. The psychological ramifications of the mind control that you're now still under. So now, all I got to do is put up that image of 600,000 black girls being missing. And it activates in something within you about you being touched when you were little. Or your best friend being touched when they were little. It stirs something up inside of you. Because I'm still connected to it. Your whole family, you were told you were poor. You were told you were poor. And you didn't have anything. You were barefoot. So you were shown these images of what poverty looks like. Whenever I look at them third world country videos and I see them kids out there playing with a can, having a ball with a can. When I see him having a ball with a can, that motherfucker don't know that he's fucking poor. Based on what he sees in his environment, which created in them thought processes, he thinks he's okay. So who can tell you without teaching? There's a difference between the thought process of what we're going through, where you're being taught and you're being shown through the different guys and the teachers and the coaches and all of those as you go on to your journey. And there's a difference between your ego being hit, your ego being stroked, and the motherfucker really talking to you. 90 times out of 10, whenever I do a greeting with somebody, I always say divine rise, God and goddess. Basic level. I say that to the dead motherfuckers all the time. I'll say divine rise, goddess. They'll still send me a good morning. Good morning. I could easily be like, well, I don't ever, what are you mourning about? I wait for him to ask me the question. The only way that the teacher appears is when the student is ready. The only way that the teacher appears is when the student is ready. So you can sit here every single day and you can plant seeds, get upset at your people, get upset at these things about a motherfucker not wanting to be awake and these motherfuckers are dead. I'm tired of these dead motherfuckers. I love the dead motherfuckers. I love the dead motherfuckers. I love the overly religious folk. I love them all. I love the white man. I love the Asian man. I love them all. Do you know why I love them all? Because I am a God. And as a God, I have compassion. I have compassion and understanding for what they are, for what they're worth, where their mind is at. In order to get to this level, I had to go through the intense shadow work within myself of removing myself from the bounds of what kept me angry, what kept me emotionally attached to the things that happened in my life. I had to discipline myself. I still have to discipline myself. The higher that I go, it's a different set of disciplines. I don't have to meditate every single day because I'm in a constant state of meditation. I don't have to really visualize my manifestations because I'm in a constant state of visualization because I create them in my subconscious. Your thought process as you're going into your higher conscious self, as you're going into your higher self, is these things become subconscious routines. So the same way you would go to McDonald's every single day for that McFish sandwich when it was on special, is the same way you go into your mind to visualize healing yourself. Everything is everything. That's the same thing when it comes to the sex part. That's why I tell you sex from a higher level. Sex is the physical representation of you rising into your higher self. Learning how to create through the chaotic energies of your life. These are the thought processes that we need to become more in tune. That's the in tune part of us becoming in tune. But we got to do the work with the things that were inside of us at first. So all of that shit that's deep down inside of you, all of those hurts, all of those hurts, all of those pains, all of those things that have come into your life over and over again that keep repeating, those are the things that we have to go through. Go through it as an understanding, not going through it as an emotional. Another march, another protest is not going to do shit. Trying to create an economic plan or an economic base ain't gonna do shit. Creating another economic plan, basically all you're saying is, okay, we're good with what you're saying, but we want to have our own money first. We're still gonna be, you're going back to the sharecropping days. You remember when slaves were first emancipated, transferred ownership from people to the government? That's what that emancipation shit was. You can stay on the land, and at the end of the season, at the end of the harvest, we'll divvy up and we'll pass everything out. Doing at this level, you're never going to get anything of equal value to yourself. You have to understand that going to the level that you're going to, you are going to set that price. What price are you willing to pay? What sacrifices are you willing to make? That's where the sacrifices are coming into. Do you know how many family members I've sacrificed in the art of me coming into my higher self? Do you know how many family functions I no longer go to? Do you know how many family functions I no longer go to? The Thanksgivings, the Christmases, the Valentine's days, the Easter Sundays, all of these things that I can sit here and say, don't text me about fucking Thanksgiving. Don't text me no happy fucking Thanksgiving. The best way for me not to fucking do it is not to go there. That emotional tether is what has you locked into your shit. Just speaking it into existence. You're a God. You create by everything that you speak. Your thoughts become your thoughts become the acts, become your physical manifestations. So if you say you hate something, guess what? It'll be shown more and more in your life. It's going to be shown more and more in your life. Not for you to be emotionally, see, it keeps happening. Them motherfuckers keep doing, that motherfucker keep running in my fucking yard. Okay. The fuck's it gonna do? What the fuck are you really doing? Standing up. The Black Panthers did their job. All the movements that have happened already have already been done for a reason. They laid that groundwork for what they needed to do at that level. We have to get out of the mindset. What happens a lot of times, basically, one big generational curse that happens to us, especially in our families, in our world, for us. I hate that happens. Every time that I start getting good, my music start wanting to go away and shit. But we're going to make you keep starting again. But that thought process in yourself, as you're moving into yourself, one of the biggest generational curses, and David Banner broke it down in a Breakfast Club interview, we're trying to start over and over and over again at a space where it already happened at. So just holding on to the memory of Martin Luther King I had a dream speech, the Black Panthers, the Freedom Riders, they did their part. They put the knowledge in the writings. What are you applying at this point in time that's carrying on that legacy? How are you continuing the marathon? How are you continuing the marathon? A lot of the things that happen in our everyday, day-to-day life, what happens to us is a lot of times is this aspect of things is we get locked into this action of starting somewhere in the beginning. You got to go through what I went through, young blood, to get to understand. We're not building anything. We're not creating anything anew. We're about to go into a whole nother fucking year And all next year, we're going to hear it all through timelines, all through social media. We need to we need to create our own schools. But the moment that somebody actually sits there and tries to do it in that aspect of itself, what do? Dog them. I don't know how many people said some shit about Dr. Umar Johnson building his fucking school. He just need the right amount of instead of looking at it in the aspect of, damn, that nigga ain't really doing shit. He's a con artist or whatever it may be. Learn from the message that the messenger is displaying. Learn from the message that the messenger is displaying. Okay, cool. I know. What did I learn from that? What did I learn? There was it's a show. I think it's either on Hulu or Netflix. It's that Asian dude. He had dinner with a white separatist. And I agreed with everything the white separatist said. I agree with everything. Because the reason that I agreed to it is to the level of, that's the way we need to be thinking collectively in that aspect in order for us to actually do anything. This art of war and this being conscious that we're trying to be and create a new of, we have to look. The normal shit don't fucking work. The examples of the normal shit not fucking working, the examples of the normal shit not fucking working, is a protest and a march. They show us what doesn't work every single fucking time. They show us what doesn't fucking work. They show us that every fucking day. They show us what doesn't fucking work. That's why they let us show it every time. That's why they can put Black Lives Matter on TV every fucking day. That's why they can put another protest every fucking day. That's why they can put these things on TV every fucking day, because they know you will be emotionally tied to it in generations and generations of us holding our fist up in the air. Simpleness. What did the Haitians do? What did the Haitians do? They sat back and they denounced the gods of others and invoked the energy of their gods. That's what they did. They invoked the energy of their gods. Think about that. They started applying their shit. The shit got fucked up again. You gotta realize that the shit got fucked up again. Why? Because some missionaries went down there and told them to come find Jesus. So in your life, every time that you're on that path and you know shit's moving, because you see the energy, the fucking weather changed. The weather that's been changing over the last few fucking years is the reflection of our awakening. The weather changes over the years, and we complaining about fucking, man, it's getting hotter when it's supposed to be cold and cold. It's doing what it's supposed to do. The moment that the weather started fucking changing, they laid in another bunch of distractions, and then it got cold again. There's no coincidence in the weather. Everything is everything. Everything is on the same continuous circle. So the weather changing was what? Damn, it got real hot. It didn't even feel like Christmas last year. I don't even pay attention to Christmas anymore. It didn't even feel like Christmas last year to me. And that is a weird ass thing. It didn't even feel like Christmas to me. It didn't feel like Thanksgiving. It was another day. These are just other days for me. That's the mindset you get into because you're creating in your own mind from a higher space. Until you get into the higher space of yourself, you will not clear all that. Clear. Okay. We're gonna go here. We're gonna hit this. Press that button right there. There it is. But yeah, going into that aspect of itself, when it's going to that higher level, we have to take ourselves out of these mindsets. That sounds cool. Let's try that. But yeah, taking ourselves into these higher aspects of ourselves. That sounds cool. But we got to take ourselves into the aspects of normalizing our spiritual energy while integrating. That's that submitting into the ideal, the attributes of the ideal, while integrating into what we are at now. Their arrogance is your way out. Similar to us, how we use Facebook every day to disperse knowledge. Use YouTube like this to disperse knowledge. Create podcasts to create knowledge. Ooh. I'm a God creating. I'm creating the different spaces that I need to create to get that knowledge out there. But I'm going through their shit to get to our shit. I'm going through their arrogance to get our stuff because it's all ours anyway. So for me to denounce anything that they have and anything that they've created doesn't make any fucking sense because that's our shit anyway. So for me to say fuck Christianity means I have a fear of something within me to understand that shit. That's what we need to get into. Most motherfuckers are still afraid of death. You don't even realize that you're immortal yet. That is a good ass question. I don't know how we would share the live stream. I know I can share it. If you go into the link into it, I think you can actually, there's a point where you can share and they'll let you copy the link and share it out to people. I don't know. Hold on, wait. Because I'm still live. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah, there should be a smoke got my. I think hit the little share button. There should be like an arrow for that little share icon. Hit that, and when it pulls up on my end, it shows me the embed, and then it shows me Facebook and all the little social media outlets that I can share it to. So I'm pretty sure you can like copy the code and then share it from that way. That's the only way I know how to share it from that. What you call it? Because it is open. I haven't started loading certain things on my Patreon, so it can be shared while it's live. I knew exactly who it was, DJ Lady. That sounds better. Let's do that. That didn't sound like us.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
I didn't want to put that on.
Well, at least one of
anyways,
us.
But going into the aspects of ourselves, going deeper into ourselves, we have to understand the very things that we are trying to run away from all the fucking time are the things that we need to go through. The negative things that are happening in your fucking life, the negative things that have happened in your life, those are your learning tools. Those are your learning tools. All the little things that have happened in generation after generation after generation. This runs in my family. This runs in my family. Guess what else runs in your family? What are you building? Instead of saying, you can acknowledge shit all fucking day. We can acknowledge that hypertension and blood pressure runs in our fucking family. But until you actually say, okay, how do I take that out of my how do I take that out of how do I stop that in my DNA? Everything's connected. So at that first level, yeah, me being plant-based, for example, I use plant-based because I have the understanding that my body is more organic as I'm cultivating myself to a higher level. So I have a deeper sense of clarity to myself based on my path, based on what I'm supposed to be doing, based on what my purpose is. I know that if I put trash in my body, I allow all the other trash to come in. If I won't allow it in my body, I damn sure ain't gonna let it in my head. I'm damn sure not gonna let it in my fucking house. But there's an understanding to it. Why was it put there in the first place? How does it resonate with me? How does it connect to me? That's what we need to start looking into. How does this shit start connecting to you? How can they put, and I'm gonna keep saying that shit over and over again, there's a reason, because I'm encoding it into your mind. How do I continuously put over sexual gratification is all around you? Sexual gratification is all around you all the fucking time. And then they give you different elements to enhance sexual gratification. On one hand, this is how it works. This is how the mind control works. They play from both sides. They understand balance. Balance is not negative and positive. Balance is understanding the negative and the positive. So if on this side, religion, we'll say, no, actually we're going to do the left-handed path. The left-handed path is more how religious folks are. The religious in their religious paradigm. No against sex. No against drinking. No against all this shit. On this end, so right beside the church, I'll put a liquor store. See how the physical representation of how it started in the spiritual realm? Your lack of understanding of when and how to use alcohol, the liquor store. Now you want to numb your faults against, I feel like I'm lost without this. So you create an imbalance because you have a lack of understanding of this, so you do more of this. This feels good, but you're still at an imbalance because now your energy now tilts into that. Because now they can use this platform, they can use your platform or your spirituality being demonic, and we understand that demonic comes from the Latin word Damien, which means intelligence. They'll use your intelligence against you. So that's why they keep saying things are demonic, and only things demonic and evil. All you do is keep activating the same trigger about shit being demonic and evil. There's dead niggas. You won't know if I don't know my consciousness. If everybody around me was conscious, it would be normal. Therefore, I wouldn't know what consciousness is. I wouldn't have an aspect of what consciousness is. If everybody around me knew that they were immortal, we didn't understand what death was. We didn't have a concept of death based on the concept that's given to us. And since we didn't have a concept of death, they had to show you what death was. Because on our descent, on our fall, as our light bearers, as we were the light bearers, as we are the Lucifer energy, as we fell into these vessels, into the rings, chakras, rings. Whenever you do your visualization, you look at your chakras and you fill up the chakras, and you see people doing a little chakra spinning. That's your rings. That's the rings that you trapped in. Remember how they said Jesus will come and he will cast them into, the first time he locked them into the rings, that's the rings of Saturn. That's your higher intelligence. He calcified your pineal gland by fluoride and all the other shit. All that shit is how they do it. This is how all that shit works. And since we don't want to look into the European shit, we don't actually understand it. their theories, their entire life is based off of you, understanding you. That's why they write so many books, because they're written off of you. They need a book. Thus, why the religious texts were made to understand how to navigate on this plane. That's not meant for us because it's within us. That's what we are. When we read it, it opens up something within inside. It opens up something inside of us. It takes us to our next level. That's that aspect. But in order for me to halt your energy, guess what I get to do? I got to make your grandmother, I got to make everybody you care about on this side of the fence. I got to put everything you love on this side of the fence. I got to put everything that you want to strive for on this side of the fence. Your family, your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your cousin. I got to put all your family on that side of the fence and make you feel like you're standing alone if you're on that side. So now I got to make it like you're defending or saving something from somebody. So guess what? Now you're on this. Now you are the fence. You became the fence. You became the gates. You're the gate. I broke that down in the gatekeeper lecture. You're the gatekeeper. You're the gatekeeper either to the continuance or the destroying. The continuance, that's your humanity and ego trying to make this shit better. That God energy that's within you, that God energy, that God, that supreme energy, that supreme, you got to start acting like the supreme being. You got to be confident in everything that you fucking do. You got to be the supreme being. You are the supreme energy. You're the supreme force. Act like it. You can tell you're not acting like it because you're still being affected by the bullshit that's happening day to day. That shit shouldn't even faze you. That shit should not. The highest state of not giving a fuck is looking at some white dude in the fucking face, watching them do their dumb shit. Ever since my clairvoyance and my clairambience and my psychic abilities have kicked in and my shit has gotten higher to myself. You remember when you were little or you were younger and you still hear, you remember like you always see in the movie like the white people lock their doors? Or you remember on Soul Plane when the motherfuckers were around by the airplane, the motherfuckers locked the windows on the plane? I hear that shit and I laugh. Because it's good to be feared by them. Because that's the aspect of their life. Their entire balance is built off fear and hatred. Things outside of you are built off of fear or lack of understanding. So the more you understand yourself, the more you will be feared. The more you understand their fear. Because you understand something that you know something they don't know. You can get to something they can't get to. The 1%, as they say, the 1%. The 1% that know, and then there's the 5% that are trying to wake up the other 99%. That the 1% don't want the other 5% to wake up the other 99%. You're the 5%. But in order to topple the 5%, in order to topple the 1%, you must become the 1%. But in order to become the 1%, you have to submit to the attributes of what the 1% is. You have to submit to being the racist. You have to submit to the white. You have to submit your mindset to being the white supremacist. But do it without the emotion. That's that little key part. That's where you look at, if you look at the Power Rangers or the Hebrew Israelites, they are the reflection of the emotional man or the emotional being. They're the example of the dog trying to be human. A dog can never be human because it only can think as a dog. A slave cannot think as a god because it is only thinking. It has slave mentality. The white man that you're scared of, that you fear, that you're so angry with, can only be a white man. You are the only vessel. You are the only energy that has the soul. Your soul is reflected to you every single morning when every single morning that you rise, open your eyes, and you sun gaze into. That's the reflection of your soul. And the reflection of your soul is powered. Someone to tell you about the Star Series B, which is true. That's the spiritual side of yourself that you can't see. So you having the knowledge of Star Series B reflecting as the soul, and you apply that knowledge and that logic into you moving every single day. The winter solstice is coming up. They rated it as Christmas. Before it was Christmas, it was Saturnella, their perverted way of being merry and raping each other. Okay, that's all they know how to do is rape each other. That's the only way they know how to conquer is to rape each other. But you want to be just like them, so you embody what they do. I think one of the most ignorant things that I've ever heard nowadays is a motherfucker will sit there and say, I didn't put the drugs in the hood. I'm just trying to make some money off of it. That's similar to the motherfucker that's so pro-black, but you want to wear Gucci. It's ego. This realm is controlled by ego. I got to a point in my life. That's why I created a Code Alchemy. The clothing brand I put together. Got a couple samples in my store now. The reason I created a Code Alchemy is the same reason I watched my big brother David Banner say some shit that provoked a thought into my mind. He was like, the amount of money that I spend on clothes would equate to me creating my own brand. And even if I didn't sell one article of my clothing, I still have my own wardrobe with my name on it. That thought process triggers into your mind and deeper. You have your abilities, but since we're still stuck on the thought of something outside of us needs to validate us, we don't use our gifts to their highest. We don't use our talents and our gifts to their highest ability. We don't use our talents and our gifts to our highest ability, to our highest accordance to our highest self. We don't use them because we're waiting for validation from something else. I'm a humble, compassionate God for the audience that tunes into my content as I grow. I have no thoughts behind. Of course, I check clicks and likes because I know exactly how to navigate my angle as I'm putting out them angles of light, or I'm invoking my energy to my angels, or creating my angles of light to put out more content. I look at it on that aspect, but I don't look at it on the egotistical standpoint, because if I'm looking at it for validation, when you look at things for validation outside of yourself, you water down your truth. When you put your validation in the hands of others, you water down your own fucking truth. You water down yourself. And yes, those we are seeds, and when we water as we grow, we're drowning ourselves. We get so waterlogged from all this pride-like fluid that we take into ourselves based on our egos and trying to better humanity, that we get stuck in a space that doesn't even fucking, we get stuck in a space and then we're waiting for somebody else to pull us out of the space. You put yourself there. You put yourself there. You can go back and read the Hermetic text, the Gnostic text, which we will start getting into deeper and deeper as we go into these lectures. The Gnostic text, them motherfuckers were anti-everything. They were anything human, they were anti-against it. That's the mindset you need to get into, is being anti-human. Until you put that aspect, the thought process into your subconscious and start working with all that power you got back there, you still gonna be wishing upon a star that these motherfuckers give you a handout. You still gonna be wishing for reparations. I don't want nothing from them, because it's a track record. Everything that they give to you is laced with poison. They gave our ancestors smallpox. They gave the Tuskegee Airmen niggas, they gave them motherfucking syphilis. The first motherfuckers that they were putting in prison in the psych wards, they were pumping them full of heroin just to see how that shit fucking worked. They use this as their guinea pigs. But now, we can use them as our guinea pigs. And we've done that over, and that's the observation. Looking, when you're able to step back and look at that shit, you can see how we've used them as guinea pigs the entire fucking time. We gave them enough rope to hang themselves. They gave you great artists like Eminem. And then all the other white rappers, they just magnify what he made famous. Popping pills. Now you got Lil Pump, Lil Xan, Little whoever. Then I got the Lil Uzi Vert. Then you got this high-pitched tone of fucking music that's on a higher fucking vibration. Then no lie, I listened to a Young Thug song yesterday. I was listening to the beat. I took out his words and simply listened to the tone, and it sounded like this. It sounded real. It was real fucking shamanic to me. Listen to a 21 Savage, Kevin Gates. Listen to this music. I understand I'm at the higher vibration level. I'm in that higher realm. I live in the higher realm. I create in the higher realm. My mind is in the higher realm. So I don't have to say anything to make someone at the lower vibration understand me. I don't have to stand for anything that's below me. I don't have to stand against something because it has nothing to do with me. Human shit doesn't bother me anymore. I laugh more at niggas than I laugh at white people now. Because white people are doing what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to be jackasses and kicking each other in the nuts and and shooting up shit and all that shit. Did you ever think about that? What goes through the mind of a motherfucker that goes kills a bunch of people in a fucking room? Something went off in their head. I was watching Sons of Anarchy, binge watching that on my Hulu. That's my other show besides watching Gotham. I got into Gotham after I was watching a Brother Panic lecture. I was like, nigga, he said something about Gotham. Nigga, look at that Gotham shit about. It's actually a good fucking series. But every time you look at all these mass murderer killings, how did I come to that level? Letting go of a lot of shit. Once you start letting go, and then we get back into the Sons of Anarchy story part. Once you start letting go, you have to be, Bobby Hemming broke it down, like the apology to your subconscious, to that level of yourself. To let go, understanding that the worst thing that can happen in this physical plane, in this prison planet, is that you break out. The key to letting go and getting to the next level is dying before you die. I always had a fascination with death. In that aspect, I always had a fascination with death. I wanted to understand it. The shit was cool to me. Shit is dead. Shit just stopped moving. I remember I watched a zombie movie or one of them fucking apocalypse movies, like Dawn of the Dead or some shit, and they got to the CDC. Was that in? I think that was fucking. I want to say that was fucking Resident Evil. Don't remember. Or some zombie fucking movie. They got to the CDC and they were doing the research on a brain, and then they were looking at how it's still lit up. It still had like certain parts of it lit up. What they were showing you in that movie is how your brain only uses, we only use 10% of our brain. Anything under 40 hertz is scientifically dead. Anything under 40 hertz is scientifically dead. You have to understand when you're looking into the brain waves, you understand that anything under 40 megahertz is the theta wave and the gamma waves. Lowest waves. The higher waves are the alpha waves and the delta waves. I may be saying no, it's alpha. Yeah, the alpha and the delta waves are the higher waves. Please research everything that I say. The alpha waves and the theta, the alpha waves, we are kept in a constant state of theta. Your theta waves are when you're asleep. That's why when you go to the movie theater or you watch a movie, you turn the lights on. When you go to the movies and the lights are always low, because what is going to be shown to you is going to be going straight to your subconscious. Your ego is going to go into defense. Okay, it's dark. It's time to go to sleep. Your conscious goes to sleep, but your subconscious is still aware. Your subconscious is still awake, but your conscious is now asleep. So now everything that they show you on the screen goes into your mind. That's why whenever they say, whenever you want to get people started and you're doing a speech, you end it started with a joke. Because if I start something with humor, everything that comes after the humor bypasses you and goes straight into your subconscious. So that's why black comedy is the way black comedy is. That's why our forefathers of comedy, you talk about Red Fox, you talk about Richard Pryor, you talk about our original greats in that aspect. Dick Gregory, Baba Dick Gregory was transition. Them, they could talk about any political, they talked about social and political platforms, and anything they put it into jokes. And it's stuck in your mind. That's why they now, since they've learned how to, all they can do is take your shit perverted, which is the perversion that they create. That's their psychological warfare. All they can do is mental shit. They can't really do anything magic. They don't do anything magic. They do everything based off of the ritual of, they do very little ritual, and it's mainly subconscious, it's mainly just mind control. So if I show you, remember, repetition, symbols, and trauma. Repetition, symbols, and trauma. That's how you can control something. So if I give you constant images of one thing, I put it to a repetition, and then I link it to a trauma. Every time I trigger that image, it sets that trauma into motion, and that's how your power is siphoned. I broke that down in Entertaining Your Own Siphoning. But this thought process of what they do over and over again goes back to the Sons of Anarchy. I watched the Sons of Anarchy episode. It was, I think it's on season 6. I think I'm on season 6 again for like the third time because I love that fucking show. But every time you see these movies, they always show like a bunch of killers. Every time they look inside their notebooks, they show devils, they show demons, they show ghosts, ghouls, and goblins, all this scary shit. And then on the other pages, they show angels and God told them to do it. What happens to them is something triggers in their mind, and this is how that shit works. This is that secret. They can't go past that realm. That's purgatory. They can get into purgatory, but they can't go past it. So to keep us locked down on this level, they had to they taught us about death. They showed us death in the physical instance, so we didn't go into purgatory. So when you ever hear, so that's why religion was pushed onto us. 98%, Bobby Hemming broke that down. 98% of religion is ego and emotionalism. From catching the Holy Ghost all the way to crying when you hit that lottery number and you thought Jesus said that, and you see him thank Jesus on the fucking reward show. All these are repetitive images telling you that without something outside of you, i.e. them leading it or giving it to you, you can't get it. So that psychologically removes your confidence. That psychologically takes away your power. So as you are lowering because your confidence, I've been wanting to get into that show. I still haven't gotten into it. I'm actually started watching it. I was like seeing bits and clips. I saw the clip. I saw one clip from when he went back and he was on the slave boat, told him we were jumping in the water. I saw the other part when they showed her Shun for the first time. I've seen a lot of that. But the thought process is they constantly lock into your mind, and then that's how they create the spell is yours. The power is yours. So since they understand the power of the spell, that's why they say Amen. We understand Amen meant the hidden one, which translated to the hidden one, but you go further back, turn into Set, which was the triple blackness, the original. So the hidden one, or the hidden place. So every time you say Amen after your prayers, you are putting it unconsciously, subconsciously into your subconscious. That's how they program you. That's how they use religion to program you. So every time you sit there and you're the power source for all, they have no power. The only power that they have is your attention. Your intentions are set by what has your intention. Their power, their entire power structure is based off your attention to it. You put attention into whatever they say, whatever they do, whatever distraction they put in front of you, that's how they get your power. That's how they have access to your power. So whenever you hear the pastor say, there's some evil in the world today, but Jesus and Amen in Jesus' name. is re-invoking that power. Because everything that he says after that or before that now goes into the hidden space. As opposed to saying Ashe means to invoke or bring forth power. Exactly. Taking that aspect of saying Ashe, bringing that power, that's also going into the tones of meditation when you go, whenever you do, like when you did the pitches, when you're in chorus, you are unlocking through the sound waves. Those same sound waves, understanding those sound waves, there's no power within that name. The name is an archetype. The only thing that has power in the name Jesus is how it was created. Because they took Zeus and they took Horus. They took the Horus mythos of us, and they took the Zeus mythos, which the Greeks are the Phoenicians. Hey, Melanie, you decided to drop a little line in there. The Greeks are the Phoenicians. So in order to understand what the Greeks did, in order to get to the Phoenicians, you got to go through all the Greek mythology to understand the Phoenicians, the originals, us. Then you go further back from that to understand the Etruscans were the Romans. When we were there at that space of time building up that civilization, it was the Etruscans. The Etruscans later on became the Romans. That's why they named everything Africanus and all this stuff like that, is because whenever they took over something, they took what they could use. They can use on the intellectual level to control, and everything else they deemed as evil. Even that concept came from our priest, our ancestors, that the Gnostic priest, when they translated all of this shit, because the only way that they could understand the information, they didn't have any information. Our priest translated that shit into all the different languages. Greek, all these different languages, because it was going to be dispersed. Because they knew at a point in time, everything was going to come back into full circle, and we would have to go back and get our information. They put it out in fragments because their arrogance they knew that their arrogance of something, once again, looking at the attributes of a child. I cannot these are the best fucking cheese nips on earth. These are vegan. If I try to hand my nephew one Cheez-It, one of these, he'll eat it, he'll walk off somewhere, he'll come back, he'll want another one. He'll get upset until they get every one of these out this box. But if I give him the entire box, I know he ain't gonna eat the whole box. I give him the whole box. He'll probably eat 5 or 6 of these. I already told him not to stick nothing back in the box if he ain't gonna eat it. He'll sit down somewhere and he'll be asleep somewhere. I actually, what I wanted to see about him going to sleep. Now I go grab my box of Cheez-Its, turn on my Sons of Anarchy, watch me some TV while he sleep, eat my Cheez-Its. That's the same shit with all of this knowledge. Let them do the fucking work. They're going to keep uncovering it. They're going to keep writing books about it. That's the point of the lectures. They're going to keep digging up all this shit, not knowing what to fucking do with it. All they ever do, Bobby Hemmett broke that down, Philip Valentine broke that down a lot in a lot of the lectures. All they do is take the information that they find, spend 10 to 20 to 30, spend however much time the DNA genetic program, for example, take it, put a bunch of distractions in front of you so you ain't paying attention to it. And then once they find a way to weaponize it, then they display it to you. So as we're looking into these things and these aspects, such as a wall being built, what wall will be being built? In my mind, I built a wall. My wall in my mind when I was younger was based on Catholicism. Every Christian, every Baptist, every Protestant, every Mormon, everybody that you see that stems under the religion that uses the Holy Bible as their text, they're Catholic. If you want to shut down any fucking argument that they're going to have with you, you're Catholic. They'll spend so much time trying to explain that they're not Catholic that you can walk away because they're Catholic. That's the Catholic and Judaism right above it. Judaism, Catholicism, and then Islam. 3 chairs. Same bird, same beast. But in that aspect of themselves, tacos. My safe word is tacos. I remember shit when I say tacos. They took that aspect of themselves, and then that's how they put everything in there. So I get excited. What we have to get excited for, we have to start being excited about romanticizing that shit. Whenever we see some shit that they do based on arrogance, they're showing us our way out. They give you your way out. I broke that down in the I broke that down for I think a few lectures back about being in a burning house. When I broke down Martin Luther King talking about he brought people to a burning house. Now, motherfuckers, the dead people, the dead is some of the wannabe, the diet woke motherfuckers that still want to make equality in this shit. I don't want nothing in this wasteland. The dead motherfuckers are asking for air conditioning in a burning fucking house. The house is burning down. Hey, could you make it a little bit cooler? While the idiots eat themselves, while the zombies eat themselves, they feed upon themselves on lower mundane level shit. Their arrogance and their accepting of that allows you to go on where you need to go to. So the lower vibrational niggas and bad bitches and niggas in accordance, they're needed. Because you're going into living spiritually, basically, is living in the hidden. Occult means hidden, not occult means hidden knowledge. But Rapana breaks that down. Basically, that goes into the thought process of understanding the subconscious mind, understanding your dark self, understanding how you create light from the dark. That's how that works. That's how that creation comes into effect. From the dark comes the light. Their arrogance to write it in a book and not understand it, but you actually, the key to you understanding it is that it's you. Bobby Hemmett broke that down. Whenever you look inside the Bible, whenever you look inside the Torah, I really have not studied the Torah as much as I should have. Whenever you look at the 99 attributes of Allah, whenever you look at the different principles in the mystery systems that we put together as we were coming to our descent, the mystery systems, you were taught all of the mystery. You were taught everything. You were taught about all the deities and all the principles, all the gods of Egypt, all the gods of Kemet. At a certain age, you got to a point and they were like, yo, so I'm going to tell you like this. You don't feel me on this. Everything that I just told you, that's you. So then you spent the next part of your life. You spent the next part of your life unlocking the secrets to yourself. Everything is a repetition on this level. So everything our ancestors did, from marching to protesting, that was evoking power. That was evoking power in the demons. They were evoking their power. Because when they were told over and over again that they weren't fucking human for a reason. And they fought to be human. They submitted to the ideal attributes of what it is to be human to survive at that time, to get done what they needed to get done. Every single day, I submit to the attributes of where I'm at. I submit to I submit to the attributes. I submit to becoming the attributes of where I'm at in the environments that I dwell in, that I go through, the environments that I'm in. Keeping my energy protected. That's how you protect your energy. I submit to the attributes of what the ideal sees me as, and then I move around in plain sight. Everything I have on, minus this, everything that I wear, I wear all of my shit every single fucking day. And motherfuckers will look straight at me and be like, how can you wear your nose ring and wear your shit and nobody say nothing to you? I'm on a different level. It's a different understanding to where I'm at the level that I'm at. So as I move through these levels, I give you an example. Every day at work, white people tell me hello. Call me by my dead name, and I go on about my business. I don't have to put my energy into the negative shit because it's not me anymore. Everything that they can do, everything that they can say pertains to my my corpse. Everything that they act out in their day-to-day life is based on my corpse. There's a toe tag on that body. That body's gone. That vessel, that version of me is so far fucking gone that in order for them to understand me now, they literally have to go through every phase that I went through. That's that gap. So when it's coming to our family, your mother, your father, and in order for them to understand you, they got to put in the same work. Different paths, because it's all custom to yourself, to your enlightenment, but they got to go through that same fucking work. We got to get past the aspect of a person sitting us telling us to submit. That's why they wanted us to submit so bad. They perverted the sense of submission because in their mind, submitting means relinquishing my power. Because that's their definition of submit. They feel they have to relinquish their power. They know what it fucking meant. When I submit at the level that I'm at, when you're going through your consciousness, you submit to that level to invoke that power. That's the other part of they can't invoke shit. They don't have souls. They don't have the genetic makeup in the building and the epigenetics in order to do the things that you can do. So that's why they had to display so many things on you over and over and over again, these images, to make you feel like that because we're gods we're spiritual energies having a human experience. So the process of Madam C.J. Walker creating the relaxer, the perm, and the hot comb and all that shit, that was a goddess understanding, how do I fit in with these motherfuckers? If I straighten my hair and make it all wavy like theirs, then I fit in with them. So I submit. So as you start when you start looking at Black history, it was nothing but a bunch of fucking gods doing what they needed to do at that point in time. They did what they needed to do at that point. So for you to embrace it, yes, embrace that power. Take your power. That's what I mean by taking your power back. Take your power back. It's yours. But learn how to cultivate that energy in yourself into your purpose. Learn how to take that energy back to cultivate to your purpose. When I broke down last week talking about the sexual energy, the thoughts that are deposited, because I write down, I say so much shit, I can't remember what I write. But when you take that thought process into yourself, you take deeper understanding, and everything that you do, everything that you write, everything that you understand comes from a deeper level. What did I write? Because I write so much shit. Let's go to my shit. Even the way that I write notes now is different. I don't write things to regurgitate. I write things to remember the point of access to when that knowledge hit to me. So my channels are different. And since I have a different, and now that I'm evoking my energy, I'm invoking from the higher Eve. I've evoked myself until I've killed myself, into this version of myself that I am now. I am most comfortable in this vessel as it is now. So I ain't got to change it. I ain't got to doctor it up. I ain't got to do shit to it. Everything, because I'm based my structure based off the divine knowledge. That's similar to like, they made for a while, they made locks so fucking normal that motherfuckers were like, niggas ain't should be wearing locks. They basically made locks of they made dreads a fuckboy hairstyle. They made it a negative image. Why did they make it negative? So what's the positive side? Because there's a negative and positive to everything. Once you release them from the aspect of bad and good and you look at negative and positive, you start looking at what serves you and what doesn't serve you. You understanding the negatives helps you understand the positive. So if I tell you that you can't wear your hair the way it grows out of your head and I got to give you a law for it, that's humanity kicking in. So now you feel like you've made, now similar to them giving you the iPhone 11 or the Samsung Galaxy 19 or whatever Samsung Galaxy they're on right now. When they give you these aspects and these pieces of your life, when they give you these little aspects in this projection to you in your world, they make you think that there's an advancement. It doesn't matter what the fuck they create. It has no precedent over what you are. Your sight, your vision, the way you hear, the way you smell, the way you communicate. Text messaging ain't nothing but a mundane, lower vibration or level of how we used to communicate just looking at each other. We still can do that nowadays. Go into the grocery store, watch a little white kid watch a kid act up, and watch two black mothers look at each other. Watch two brothers going to a barbershop. Watch a motherfucking go into a black barbershop and watch a white dude walk in with a sleep system. Watch how all the men in there look. at each other. We unconsciously do everything that we naturally have the power to do. Oh yeah, I was about to read that to you. We naturally do unconsciously what we need to put into our subconscious. Once we put it into our subconscious, the actual knowledge and the thought process behind it, that's how we activate these things. That's how we shift things. Wait. Is that it? Yes. Thought/knowledge is the masculine energy. It enters the mind, the womb. That's the feminine energy, wisdom. And the acts of the process of that procreation, So everything that they've implanted into your mind, that's the entire reason behind downing for, when you look at all of these religions, they basically downplay the feminine energy. That's all it ever does is downplay the feminine energy. It's so you don't tap into your feminine energy and know how to nurture yourself. So if you're solely going off your masculine energy, all you can go off of is thoughts, knowledge, and the repetition of thoughts and knowledge. Since the masculine side of the energy is based off visuals, what visually appeases us in that aspect, that's how they can the sexual gratification, likes on Instagram, likes on Facebook for something, just to be seen in the image. We now lust to be seen as something. We lust to be, that's where you get the lowest rung. You got the Power Rangers running around arguing on the fucking corner to be seen, but they have regular jobs working at some of the whitest establishments ever. They're working for the man, but they hate the man in that aspect. That's that masculine energy. They don't have a feminine balance in themselves. That's why you can't get to the higher level. That's why the entire Adam and Eve fucking story, which is talking about that snake that was in the garden. That's grafted from a Kundalini energy text about Kundalini energy, about your serpentine energy rising up and awakening yourself. And it wakes up and it goes through the feminine and the masculine. That's why when you look at the two snakes, every time you see the two snakes going up, that's the masculine and the feminine energy crossing each other, and they hit the head, or they hit the Hermes, or they hit the pineal gland, or the little black dot, as Bobby Hemming always breaks down, the black dot, the pineal gland, the subconscious space in your head. That was the enlightenment. So as your serpent energy rises, that's why you always saw the headdresses wearing the Uranus or the serpent. That means they reach spiritual enlightenment. That's what the snake head means, the cobra head means. They reach that point of enlightenment to themselves. So they downplayed the woman and saying the woman is this and a woman shouldn't speak and a woman shouldn't this. Simple as common sense. I can have all the knowledge in the world. That's the masculine aspect of myself. Have all the knowledge that I can gain, all the knowledge that's written down. But if I don't understand how to nurture said energy or nurture said knowledge and apply it to create the wisdom of how I move forward, I'm denying my feminine energy. So every time that I look out in the reflection, anything that reverts off feminine energy that's not based off an image, based off the knowledge that I have, becomes created and vexed. So that's why we have a lot of these brothers running around here still talking about the black man is God, but they deny the fact that the black woman is the spiritual energy. The entire spiritual realm is feminine energy because it must be felt. It has to be felt. You can't see it. It's feminine. It's when you look at how the energy shifted, all of this that's around us right now This was the hidden in the spiritual world where we lived in that was visible. So the things such as our stones, all of our markets and our adornments, our stones, our crystals, our beads, all of this shit, all of that is showing that all of that is giving us a connection when we evoke our energy into our talismans. We're invoking the spiritual energy as a marker of us seeing ourselves. That's the feminine energy. So that's whenever you hear like the biggest explanation talking about the feminine energy itself, the spiritual realm, to be going to the spiritual realm is euphoric, or it's like an everlasting orgasm. That's that sense of euphoric bliss, or that euphoric bliss. So since we cut off from our feminine energy and our understanding the feminine closer to our energy, to ourselves, that's why we always try to find vexes. So we look for the most mundane vex to get that little hit or that high. This realm is built off addiction, exploitation, and the use of the two. That's what this realm is built off of. The constant exploitation of your addiction. Your vexes are humanity and ego. Your vexes become material. So if it doesn't look good, you won't wear it, you won't eat it, you won't partake of it. If it doesn't come in a certain package, breaking that veil, if it isn't coming from that certain level of itself, you don't look into it, you don't look at it. If it doesn't fit what it's supposed to fit. What we have to understand, and then not fitting what it's supposed to fit is doing what it's supposed to do. You don't know what a narcissist is until if you're not a narcissist, you don't know what narcissistic traits are until you meet a narcissist. You don't know what arrogant traits are until you meet someone that's arrogant. But you have to understand the traits are resonating inside of you as well. The only reason that you can see it is because it resonates with something inside of you. We all have had toxic narcissistic traits. Wanting shit to go our way, don't want other things. That's natural from us. It's a byproduct of where we came from. But the arrogance will get stuck on, we built the pyramids. I don't give a fuck about no goddamn pyramid. Yes, we did that. That happened. We did that. Yes, that's us. Cool, dude. That's nice. That's bomb. Yeah. We invented flying cars. We invented brain surgery. We invented all these things. Okay, cool. That's good. But the same knowledge and the same formulas that we used to do that, we can do much, much more. But we have to get past this aspect of trying to start where others began. Your path starts where you're at. You're coming into your enlightenment starts where you're at. The stuff that you're going to have to go through is custom built for you to take you to your purpose. Anything outside of that is someone can give you their example. Somebody can give you the methodology. Someone can give you certain aspects of disciplines to help you get to where you need to get to. But outside of that, it's all custom to you. Your traumas, your trials, your tests, the things that you've been through inside of your life, those are the things that you're going to have to go through. Those little dirty, dark secrets that are hidden in your root chakra, that created your root chakra the way it is in that imbalance, those are the things that you have to go through. But we have to start making these things normal. We're making it normal for us. Fuck everybody else. To the nigga that likes to wear, basically dressing like a 3-year-old, because you remember when you were little and your mom used to dress you. For my mother and my aunts, they put me in fucking corduroys and fucking hot ass itchy sweaters, but they matched. Everything matched. Now we got niggas out here wearing the hat matches their shoes, matches their shirt, matches their belt. They still stuck in that childlike. That's a childlike mentality that they'll have to go through in order to break themselves. There's chicks out here that never wore dresses. They went through the tomboy phase, but now they into the phase of wearing dresses. Now everything got to match from their nails to their hair. Their hair got to match their nails and their dress and their shoes. Everything got to coordinate. That's a childlike mentality. Not that's on a generalized scale. That's that mentality to fit into that space, because in their subconscious, that's still there. That still lingers there. In their subconscious, white man's still evil. The white man's still oppressing them. That's in their subconscious. Until you yank that shit out of your head, yank that out of your subconscious, you really ain't looking at anything else. You really can't go any other further. Until you start doing the fucking shadow work to yourself, you really can't go any further. All this shit will keep continuously repeating until you learn from what you need to learn from. I remember when I first came into my awakening and I was like mad fucking geeked and excited, and I was sitting there and I was on my Facebook page and I couldn't wait to post some shit that had an ankh on it. I couldn't wait to post some shit that was mad fucking, that to me was mad fucking deep and exciting. I couldn't wait to post it. I couldn't wait for the reactions, but what I could wait for and I couldn't battle against was the reactions. Because I was still emotionally tethered to the religious rhetoric. And I had to realize that about myself. I was still, even though I came into consciousness and came into my first awakening, because there's many levels to consciousness and awakening. There's not just one, there's not one level of consciousness, not one level of awakening. That's what we also getting stuck at. That's that religious confine we're going to get into right now. You get stuck in that aspect of yourself. I was still the good old Catholic kid in baby consciousness. So I still was equating what I was taught, what I was Catholic, into my consciousness. So I couldn't battle or debate or have a conversation against somebody that was the religious folk. I can have the conversation with them because everything they said still made sense. It still made sense to me. It still went in my ear and it still made sense. So how do you know about this? And how do you know about this? Every question that they asked me, I didn't have an answer to because I didn't go study the research on the answer yet. I still was operating in my ego that I learned something new as a child. I still was a child. So I was playing with the ankhs and I was playing with my crystals and I was playing with my shit. And I got excited and I was ego ribbing on playing with my stuff. But I didn't have a deeper understanding of it yet. I didn't go into the deeper sides of myself yet. So I was stuck like, oh yeah, now? Subconsciously, I read the book. I read Nikola Tesla's autobiography, read a bunch of his books, and he took the information about the ankh and the electromagnetic properties of it, and just using it in that energy, and I put that in my subconscious mind. Now, the things that I do, I don't even remember consciously why I do them. But my conscious, my ego now defends it doesn't have to defend from anything because I have my power base structured on what I know. Because now I have the wisdom. Now they work in tandem. So I don't have to argue Why I need to argue for it? Either you gonna understand it or you not. Either you gonna take this pill or you not. Either you gonna hit this or you not. That's the level that you. That's how you get to that level of yourself. Either you gonna do it or you not. Just like I did. Either it's gonna hit you or it's not. 90% of arguments can be destroyed with that thought process. Everybody knows that's watched my lecture knows what I do about this time. Okay, I'm back. Almost lasted the entire time. But yes, as you level up, going through your levels, a good key to know that you're leveling up is the shit that the level that you're on makes sense. And then that makes you uncomfortable and uncomplacent to go to the next level. When it starts making sense at that level, that's the knowledge part. That's the knowledge have. That's the masculine. When it starts not making sense again, and that discomfort of it not making sense, you step to your next phase. That's the feminine aspect. I always use the analogy. If you were out in the streets, all the time, running around, being crazy out in the clubs, doing all the crazy shit. Now it's your time. Now, at this point in time in your life, you sitting down at the house, binge watching Netflix. Sounds anarchy. Rick and Morty, whatever show floats your boat. You out there doing that. You experienced life. Now it's time for you to study death. Death is still. Death is pit. Death is still. Death is perfect. Death is stillness. Death is nothingness. Now it's time for you to understand death. So sit your ass down and read the damn book. To the one that has stayed on the porch the entire time, that you stayed on the porch, you experienced death, stillness. It's time for you to experience life. I said that to say this. The Book of the Dead, or Becoming the Dead, that's what it was translated to in English, is all about releasing yourself from this world physically. I mean, not physically, but mentally. Mentally rebuilding yourself and recreating your mind, restructuring your subconscious mind, and creating the spaces within inside you, similar to there's a they were talking about the 144,000 people or some shit in the black, the 144,000 cells that's in your mind. We had the gracious divine ability to heal ourselves, to create from all aspects of life. We had that. That's our ability. That was our divine ability. Inside of your mind are different pockets that are now locked off. What locked off these different spots in your mind were the traumas, the negative things. Those were used as catalysts to lock off that space in your mind as you went to sleep. When you became rebooted into this vessel, all that stuff had to repeat itself backwards. When you look at the tree of the Kabbalah, there's different spheres. And the Kabbalah is best explained in the movie Star Wars. I never liked fucking Star Wars until one day I went and played the video game. I was over at one of my friends' houses. I'm sitting over there waiting for this motherfucker to get back to the house. And I started playing this video game. Star Wars explained, they always talked about the Jedi, the Jedi, the Jedi, the Jedi, the Jedi. Now when they're coming out with Star Wars right now, they're killing off the Jedi. The Jedi is about killing off your light. Darth Vader, I don't even care how much my son can hear when I say this shit. Darth Vader, Anakin, he discovered there's the darkness within you. Everybody always said there was a darkness within you. You might go too far in. In order to understand your light, you must understand the dark, because the dark is the true light. So the aspect of your traumas, all of your traumas were the negatives, or they were the sigils that you created in yourself. The spheres of the Kabbalah, these are the sigils that you created. We start talking about sigil work. You created that sigil or that marking, so at a point in time when you woke up, you could actually go look at it. See, the dead can't look at, the dead can't see, the dead can't hear, the dead can't speak. The dead cannot speak life, the dead cannot see light. You see how that works? You've been given your divine ability in waking yourself, you becoming awakened, you have the ability to see. You have the ability to hear. You have the ability to speak. The stronger you get with yourself, as you become more awakened, the more you can speak, and you can speak your light. So it becomes normal if all of us get together in one space and we're having a conversation, the dead won't understand what we're saying. The only thing they can respond is emotionally, because they'll say, oh, they're talking about Lilith. They're talking about demons, because they don't understand. That's what the 1% doesn't want the 5% to tell the other 99%. And then the 7% they don't even give a fuck. That's how the aspect works. So in your mind, these are these different markers inside your head. Every trauma that you went through, every little trial that you went through, it left a mark. Just the mark of the beast. You marked yourself at a point in time. So now that you're coming online into your awakening, into your rising into yourself, guess what you have to do? Go back through all those stages. Go back through all those phases. All that has to be going back through. Because that's what's going to take you back. Because you warded yourself off from things that weren't worthy of it. You were your lower self, you put these markings so your lower, whereas you were on your decline, as you rose into understanding, can prove the worth of understanding what that was that you went through in the first place. So all they did was repeat constant distractions of the physical manifestation of what happened already within inside of you. All they can take a credit to is recreating everything that you need to work on. They work vicariously through you. That's why they hate you so much that it becomes worship. It comes off as hatred, but it's actually they're worshiping you. Because they're showing you what you need to do. They're showing what you need to do to yourself. The shit that they hate about you, there's always a deeper root to it. The shit that you don't like about yourself, there's always a deeper root to it. Not liking the way your hair looked or your face looked, the way you don't look with no haircut or whatever. All those go to different aspects within yourself. Studying, understanding your energy. Once you get past understanding, studying yourself, once you can study yourself on this physical level, you get under yourself on the alchemical and metaphysical level. That's how that builds. That's how you build yourself that's how you rebuild and represent yourself. Those are the keys. We got to get past the aspect of what this lust thing is and start looking more into the love. The strongest reflect, the only way that you actually get true love is if you truly love yourself. The only way that you can get into the higher forms of under magic is knowing that you're magic. Knowing that that's you. The divine science, the divine arts, all this shit is yours. The sooner that you accept it, the sooner the path starts. You're your teacher. You're your student. You're your prisoner and you're your warden. The mind is all, everything is mental. From the dark comes the true light. The more you start going through these levels of yourself in these aspects, the more these occult terms that you always hear start making more fucking sense. The hidden makes more sense. I remember everybody talked about Jay-Z shirt. He had the shirt and they had a field day talking about do what thou will. That nigga been doing what he wanted since the beginning. A God in his time doing what he needed to do. Niggas mad at Kanye West. That nigga told you he's probably one of the first motherfuckers that you actually heard in the mainstream ever since you remember they had a controversy over him saying, I'm a God. But every rapper, every MC, every lyricist that came from all 5 fucking boroughs and around called themselves God MCs. Peace, God. That spiritual mecca, that spiritual energy. Until they took over, they slowed the vibration down, and then they gave you trap rap and they gave you all this other music. The same thing happened. So you mad at Kanye? Why? Because something inside you still resonates with what he's saying. He's submitting to the ideals. This is how you start observing things. He's submitting to the attributes of the ideal in order to better move and do what he needs to do in that space. It makes you think about the coon ass niggas. Now, yes, there are coon ass niggas and there are motherfuckers that they dead, they love being asleep. Yes, that's them. Every single day. By all means. But as a chaos being, tapping, once you proclaim something of yourself, Once you proclaim something of yourself, you must act in that space. And you must accept everything that's in that space, negative and positive. The lower vibrations will see it as good and bad. The higher vibration, you see it as negative and positive. Once you get even higher, you be like, does that serve me or does it not serve me? How does this serve me? How does that not serve me? The right and wrong aspect. That's them crossroads. The crossroads is, does it serve me or does it not serve me? Is it negative or is it positive? It's polarities. How do you, that's why if you saw spell work, if you look at American Horror, whatever the acronym for that damn show that's on FX. American Horror Story, that shit. AHS, that thing. When you look at it and whenever you saw people do spell work, how do you encase something? You draw it and you put the circle around it and it encases that energy. That's why they put faces on coins. Because it encased the energy of what that did and the work of it. So it's just polarities all on the same compass. So they gave you a moral compass, right and wrong, good and bad. But when you get to the higher level, you understand both sides of that coin. It's the same coin. Negative at the higher vibration on the top part of that coin is negative and positive, pole. Does it serve me or does it not serve me? That's the poles. If I put it in a circle, I can encompass that energy. But if I don't, and I'm thinking right and wrong, I'm only looking at one side. So I only can vibrate everything based on right and wrong. So I have to accept everything that's right and wrong. That's the human aspect on that coin. But as I'm on the aspect of me becoming a god and going higher into my chaos and my Titan energy, I'm understanding how to pull down these energies into myself and invoke this energy as I evoke my understanding. Because your lower half is the understanding part. That's the knowledge. As you rise into your spiritual self, you're coming into the womb of your true self to come into your true body, your real light, your true light. But you got to go through the aspects of dark. So you have to tread. So triggers. Oh, shit. Triggers of the aspect of itself that you should run away from is whenever you in a dream and you see like the warmness embrace of your ancestors telling you to come to them, run the fuck away from them. Because they're not giving you understanding. They're giving your ego comfort. In your world, as you're building your astral world, you're destroying shit. So the last thing that you want to see is more of the same shit. See what that means about the humanity and ego part? You want to see less of the same shit. That's how you stop caring. You start having compassion for yourself. I don't give two fucks about another election at all. I don't give two fucks about another election, another president. I got the physical representation from when I saw Barack and Michelle. That was the spiritual manifestation of us coming into ourselves. Everything that motherfucker did outside of the office was pure fucking God energy. From wearing the wrong colored suit that they didn't like, you gotta do what I want, I'm a God. Just smoking a Newport cigarette, God shit. I looked at the James Brown interview. They said it was the most weirdest interview. The nigga had on fucking safety glasses, and riding gloves. If there ain't no chaotic God energy, I don't know what the fuck is. I now look for the things that are destroying this shit. They give you stuff. Think about it like this. They've never given you anything of truth, ever, in this physical reality, in this illusion. They never give you anything. So, me not liking a Kodak Black is what they would want me to do. Me not liking 21 Savage is what they want me to do. Me not liking 2 Chainz and rap music, that's what they want you to do. Yes, that's what I meant when I said you was chaos. You're supposed to be a savage in this realm because it's not natural to you. It doesn't vibrate on your level. That's why you act so fucking savage. That's why you act so fucking savage. They give you an image of Cardi B to the lower vibrational being, they gonna feed right into it. They gonna go to Rainbow, City Trends, Fashion Nova. Every time they see the video on Instagram and look for that outfit, they gonna go on shoedazzle.com and go buy some rhinestone stilettos, put on some contour makeup, and go into the darkest room ever and dance and get some sexual gratification because they got daddy issues. That brother, there's a Kevin Gates, there's a song Gates put out. There's a song he put out, and that shit rung bells in my head. But there's a line in there. He's like, the issues with his mother made him turn women against their families to prove their love to him. Doesn't matter what the messenger looks like. When the message is put out there, you gotta listen. That's 95% of what most of these dudes out here doing now. They have an issue that was unresolved with their mother or their aunt or their grandmother or somebody female in their life that has jaded their reality on what love is. Maybe they left their father at a young age, and all they saw their mother do was bring in different guys into the house and constantly show more love to that man than to their children. So the curse that is rewritten in the spell that's put out there is now that this boy, he didn't grow because he didn't learn, and he can't learn how to be a man in that aspect. Now grows out to be a man child, womanizing women, subjecting them to lower vibrational acts to prove a physical manifestation or a perverted version of love to him. Same thing with queens. There's an aspect missing. And as you're going through your journey, these things will pop up. I guarantee they do pop up. I've had 9 conversations in the last 3 days alone, just in emails. Having conversations about, but what if I don't want to deal with it? You don't have to. I give them the same exact, it's damn near fucking copy and paste answer. You're going to have to go through that shit. for me to do the stuff that I do, the aspects of what I went through and what I had to learn led me to where I'm at now. From when I met my father, I went to New York. Bobby was the plug. Bobby was the connect. My pops was I had a family. One side of but I had to understand on the grander scheme the balance. My father's side of the family were the connects, the plugs. My mother's side of the family were the addicts. They weren't exactly addicted to but it was the balance of understanding the negatives and the positives. You're either the connection or you're the addiction. And then once you start understanding things like this, shit starts to synonymous. That's when that sinking shit starts to come into your sinking starts coming online. That sink, all the stuff starts sinking like, damn. That's when you start seeing number 444 and 1111. That's the knowledge behind that to get to that level. You won't understand why you keep seeing fucking angel numbers, the different angle of light numbers, until you go through the darkness, understanding how they sync up in your life. It'd be crazy sometimes because sometimes I'll say some shit. It don't necessarily be a lie, but it don't be true. But the shit still comes into fruition super fast. That's the level. That's the enlightenment. Enlightenment cannot, if you have a moment in your life where you can explain it, that's not enlightenment. That is your path to the enlightenment. Your enlightenment is when you can't explain that shit at first. That's the enlightenment part. Like, oh shit. Because the light blind, remember the light blind shit. So your enlightenment, you're in the light, so you can't see how it happened. It's not until you go into the dark to understand how it happened. Positive, negative. You got to go through both. You got to go through the positive, the negative to understand the negative. You got to understand death to understand life. They got motherfuckers out here stuck on life, scared of death. So if you're scared of something, you don't explore it. If you have a regret or a resentment against something, you don't expound upon it. So it doesn't become normal anymore. It becomes invisible. It becomes taboo. It becomes invisible at one level. Then the next level becomes taboo. Then the next level becomes dark. Then the next level becomes evil. Then the next level becomes demonic or forbidden. Every level has a different vibration. Every vibration has a different set of principles and definitions to define that level. That's how you know you're at a certain level based on the definitions of that level. So you're still upset that the white boy up the street called you a nigga. Guess what level you're at? Because when you get to the next level, you understand nigga came from Naga, which came from the Jews, which means ruler. Once you get to that level, every time that motherfucker call you a nigga, you like, you right. Your ego can kick in. You be like, you right. Because you know what it means. Similar to the word bitch. Bitch comes from the Germanic term vitch, which actually comes from the term witch. And when you study the mythos of the original witch, and they always say her name, the first in the pledge of becoming a witch, they say the old black bitch. Because the witch comes from the dark star Sirius, which was the great mother of the witches, which was the dog star energy. So the old black bitch. So whenever you heard it in black exploitation films, when they were saying you old black bitch, they were encoding their light into the movie for you to go back and understand it. It looked negative at a lower vibration. But now you have a different respect for it because you're at the higher level. This is how you break the curses. This is how you break the spells. As you go higher into yourself, this is what you come into. It's about embracing yourself as you get to love yourself. You keep cutting yourself off and compartmentalizing yourself, you can't love yourself fully because you're compartmentalizing yourself and locking yourself into different spaces to keep your power locked in. If you knew how powerful you were before, think about how powerful you are now that that power has been concentrated. Similar to currency or money. Currency, current, power. So they say money equates to power in this room. They're giving you the falsified, they're giving you a false sense of money has increased in value when it's actually lost value. The dollar has like dropped in value everywhere else. That's that physical part. But the deeper understanding behind it is your power, your currency is only as strong as you putting your attention and your energy into it. Your currency and power is only as strong as you invoking your energy and invoking your energy into yourself. So your currency grows, your worth grows. Like they used to say, $1 back then. If something costs $1 back then, it can cost like $1,000 right now. In an aspect, that's you. That's your power. You had to go through the process of going through the below to get to the higher to understand yourself more. Because if you never understood yourself, guess what would happen? You never learn. Definitely. But yeah, that's the thought process of you building and going into yourself. You're the most powerful being on this planet. That's the rising of the Christ energy, your Kundalini energy, and we'll get deeper into that. I get deeper into that in the consultations. But breaking yourself down, there will never be a second coming of Jesus. That's you. Your second coming was coming into your enlightenment. You coming into the understanding of yourself. You building yourself. You rising to the occasion of yourself. But in order to rise to the occasion of yourself, you got to go through the shit. You got to go through the closet. All them skeletons, all them shit, all the demons under your bed. You got to go through them. You got to go through the books of yourself. How else do you expect someone else to do? How else do you expect someone else to connect to you and reflect what you want, what you need in your, what you desire, if you don't know what desire in yourself? How else can you take yourself to the next level if you're not embracing the foundations and the parts that can help you build the foundation to the next steps? Those are the keys. We got to get out of the mindset of generations and generations of lusting for something to fit and based off my ancestors did this and my ancestors did that, so I deserve this. Your ancestors did what they did to get what they got. That same self-righteous and self-proclaimed and like white privilege shit that y'all mad at. Only reason you're upset about it because it resonates with something inside of you. You think the same exact way. You just ain't got the confidence to say what they're saying. They're basing theirs off intellectual arrogance. You don't know yourself enough to actually say it. You don't love yourself enough to say it. That's what that shit boils down to. How much of yourself do you really know in order to love and embrace yourself? How much are you willing to sacrifice to go to the next level? What are you really willing to let go of if you know that in the end it will better everything that when that power trickles down? As always. Oh, all right. Good for you. Just our little question and answer period. All questions are actually answers that have not been figured out yet. I'm about to answer a couple of these questions that are being sent to me right now. Ooh, shit. As we sit here and listen to our my great grandfather uncle, this shit ain't even in fucking English. When I get the other camera, I'm gonna flip shit around random times so y'all see the screen because what's written up there ain't even in English. I know what the hell it says. I just can't explain it. But yes, if you have a question, something you want to say, go ahead and throw it up there in the comments. Well, I do this nice little closeout. If you have not already tuned into my YouTube, you're on the YouTube channel. Sorry about that. But if you're not already subscribed to get inside to the YouTube channel for more content, you know, God Alchemist. We do this every single Friday. Just by you being here on Friday says a lot for yourself. And where you're at and what you do where you're at says a lot about where you're going. Just by tuning in on a Friday night where the dead are going out hitting them clubs, ain't not wrong with it. But like, you're understanding more purposing in your life. But YouTube channel every Friday. If you have not subscribed to my podcast, it's the God Hour, capital G dot, capital all caps, G dot O dot D dot, capital H, hour, OUR, hour. Podcast is available on Spotify, Breaker, iTunes. It's available on most platforms now. Tune in. Episode 5. I just dropped episode 5. New episode drop. I drop a new episode every Tuesday. When you get to that, the 5th episode is Family Ties that tied into more deeper onto this. Subscribe to get inside on that. More and more content is coming daily. I'm building more and more. I'm putting together the website. I'm creating a whole bunch of avenues. I've started, if you are familiar with GroupMe, it's an app that you can do like live discussions and text back and forth on like a router screen, a group text. I'm on GroupMe on the GroupMe app. Download the GroupMe app. The name of the group is the God and Goddess Talk. I think it's God and Goddess Talk. I think I called it God and Goddess Talk. I can't remember. I'll put that up in my comments and in the description. But other than that, also my email address for consultations. I'm building the consultations, building the classes soon. Set SET Carlos CARLO Negus NEGUS at gmail.com. I might. But the thought process is you getting higher into yourself. There's steps. Many paths custom fit for you. Don't be scared. Don't let fear riddle your mind. Allow the love to embrace you and take you to your next level. It's gonna be really, 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 really wavy. You're gonna go through all the emotions, you're gonna go through all the triggers, you're gonna go through all that shit. But you need to go through all that shit to keep unlocking. The moment that you become complacent, you will go crazy. You will go insane in the aspect of you don't want more knowledge, but it keeps coming to you, but you don't want to expound upon it. So it puts you into that aspect of locking. Like you lock yourself into a position, then you basically kill yourself. Every level requires you to kill yourself. That's the humanity aspect. When you get to an aspect of releasing from humanity and ego are the vexes that leave you locked in each level, the levels that you get to. If you approach these levels with ego and humanity on your mind, you won't get the full spectrum of power. You'll get a jaded sense, you'll get a slighted sense or a faded vex of what you're actually tapping into. Allow it to take you over. Allow it to take you to your next level. Allow yourself to die. Because all you're going to do is reincarnate into your higher form. That's the thought. That's the whole thought process around reincarnation. You're going to your next level. If you carry in the weight, that's the balance of that balance, that burden that's in your heart, all the shit that you did before has nothing to do with where you are at now. That's the shit that you had to do at that level. That's the shit you had to do at that space in order to survive in that space. You're at a different level now. So the shit you did is the shit I did is fucking Carlos, and the shit I did is fucking Charlie had nothing to do with what I did as I became Lucifer. It had nothing to do with when I became Lucifer Zombie. It had nothing to do when I became the Galactical Alchemist. It had nothing to do as I become into my higher self. Every time you take on your new level, that's when you take on your new name. That's where that naming part, you get locked into that space. Your name is your power. That's why it gave you their last name, because it still locked your power into them. These are the aspects. Certain negative anatones, understanding the negative anatones of European concepts is the only way to get yourself into the positive aspects of your true African self, your true divine nature. Stop denouncing everything before you understand it, because you're just doing exactly what the religious folks do, and just doing it from a different angle. As we rise more, as you know more, you can do more. Your wisdom allows you to apply more, and then you grow more. And as always, I love you. We love us. Ashe.